What's going on? What's going on to all my embracers? I am so glad to be back. Hey, I appreciate you guys checking up on me, finding out what's been going on. November was a busy month for me. I had to go out of town. It was my birthday. It was Thanksgiving. But trust me, that doesn't go without saying that I was not working on some content because I have been overwhelmed with emails and texts and ideas and responses. So believe me, we got a 2024 Embrace the Grace is gonna soar. So let me tell you that is the motto for next year. You guys just keep tuning in, embracing me. I need to get to that 500 subs, man, so I can start getting monetized. So please tell a friend, tell an enemy. I don't care. I just need that like, subscribe, and share. So from all my new embracers, if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Grace from Embrace the Grace, and this is the channel where I do advocate for men, but I also talk about the ladies because I myself am a lady. So hey, you know, I don't uphold nobody in their wrongdoing, but at the end of the day, I do advocate for men. Second, we have the uncomfortable, messy, necessary conversations over here. So if you are easily offended or sensitive, this may not be for you. But if you have a thick skin and you got some balls, you know, and you want to speak your truth, then this is the channel to speak it. And there's no discrimination. So with that being said, I am going to bring up, I already have my panel ready to go because I know this was going to be a popular topic. So let me go ahead and bring out everybody here, and we're going to introduce ourselves. And we're going to tell everybody where we can find each other so we can all support each other, because this is what it's about, helping each other to embrace each other. So with that being said, Gary D, how you doing, my man?
I'm good, Grace. I'm good. You
hear me?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. I'm good. Glad to be back on the show. I know you were, you had to take care of some business and stuff like that, but I'm glad that we're back. I guess let me just introduce myself to everyone. I'm Gary D. I'm the one of the co-hosts here of Embrace the Grace. I also have Boardwalk Global Media. We have a couple of different podcasts that we do. We're going to be actually now we actually have a Christmas station on. So if you go to our link, we're playing Christmas songs, 24 hours a day for the whole Christmas season, and then our podcast will be back for 2024. You can catch us on all streaming platforms, Facebook, YouTube, all that good stuff. And great, thank you for having me here, and I'll pass it back.
Absolutely. And then this is going to be a good one because, guys, I have a surprise for you. There's going to be a couple things going on during the shows. So don't mind me because I'm trying to prove a point here. So with that being said, we're going to bring up my committee. Okay, my twin.
All right. Respect. How's everybody? Yeah, I'm right here. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Nah, just making sure. Respect. Of course, it's your boy Smitty. All right. All day in the paint. You can catch me, honestly, wherever there's peace and solitude, as well as over here with Grace. And other than that, honestly, I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go ahead and get this show going on. Grace, True, what's going on, brother? Respect to you. Gary, how you feel? Good to see you, brothers.
What's up?
And then I got my old soul over here that does nothing but dish out the truth on the table. So he'll put it down so you can pick it up. True, how you doing? Thank you for coming. I knew you was gonna jump on this topic. When you said I'm gonna be there, I'm like, I know he's coming. Introduce yourself to everybody, where we can find you, and we can go ahead and get into it. Because I'm telling you, this is gonna be a good one tonight. So go, you gotta go get a snack and come back. Do so because it's going down.
No, thanks for having me.
Go ahead, True.
What's going on, world? Daniel Rucker. I have a podcast on YouTube by the name True Table. Talk about men's topics, supporting the expansion of men's growth, as well as promoting relationships and families, things of that nature. My name is the same around all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. So check me out. I just want to contribute to the conversation. Looking forward to tonight.
Absolutely. So I know you guys took a look at my thumbnail. Okay, when I saw that picture, I said I had to address this. We've been through the Sierra era with her outfit. We've been through the Kiki era with her ass cheeks hanging out. Okay, we've been through y'all seen all the ratchetness. Y'all see it, y'all live it every day. So I mean, I have asked men questions because, guys, I don't just sit here and talk ish. I do research. I talk to men. Ladies, the only way we're going to learn about men is from men. We are not going to learn about men from Big Mom. We are not going to learn about men from Auntie. And we are not going to learn about men from your single girlfriends. You're single for a reason. If we want to learn about men, we have to learn from men. So with that being said, the topic of the show is you are addressed on how you dress. And I really do have to say that it's very disheartening how these new past generations tend to dress and think that it's okay. And think that, you can't tell me what to do and da-da-da-da. And we're going to get into it. But right now, I want to get the perspectives of the gentlemen on the panel. And Gary, we'll start with you. The way a woman dresses, tell me, I'm not even going to fill in the words for you. Tell me what comes to mind when you see how a woman carries herself and dresses. And is it important to you?
Well, first, it's definitely important to me on how a woman dresses. But look, I will say this. I know that dressing for a lot of women is part of their self-expression, and I totally get it. But there's a time and place for everything. I personally like a woman that uh, is conscious of her appearance, right? I like the more classier look. Um, sexy is great when you're going out to the club and stuff like that. And I'm fine with that. I mean, look, one of my ex-girlfriends used to be a Playboy model, so I get it, right? But some of these women nowadays, the stuff that they're wearing is like, it's just really out of control, right? It's really out of control. It's and they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but again, the way some of these women dress, not only how they dress, but the stuff that come out their mouth. So it's a bit crazy there. So I'll just end by saying that I definitely look at how a woman dresses. That's definitely very important to me, especially if we're going to be getting into something and dating and stuff like that. Because I mean, one of my old mentors years ago said, always remember, your lady is an extension of you, right? So if you're a respectable, classy guy, you definitely want a respectable, classy lady, especially if you're going to be in certain circles. And I'll say this with me, like one day I may be at an event, let's say at Gracie Mansion, which is where the mayor is. Another day I may be at a Snoop Dogg concert, right? Another day I may be at a football game, right? So she got to be able to dress accordingly, right? But still keep it classy. And I end by that.
Okay. And guys, I just want to let you know that, yes, me and Gary are up top and we the old heads. And we get it. We come from an old school of Hard Knocks and a different way of thinking. And that's why I love the fact that I have Smitty and True, because we're getting all different perspective of men and age group. And I want you guys to see the similarities and the differences that each generation speaks of. And you're going to find some commonalities. And that's what I'm trying to bring out here. Sometimes the old ways, best ways. So Smitty, with that being said, talk to me. Is the way a woman dresses important to you? And do you address a woman when they do dress a certain kind of way? Because the way a person dresses changes your mood. I don't know if you knew that, but I'm letting you guys know that the way you like you can okay, the different now, like right now Smitty is in his chill mode. He chilling with the hoodie. It's cold outside, whatever. True, he's probably just coming home from work. He chilling, got dressed casual. Same thing with Gary. He's in a sweatshirt. It's cold. It's in New York. Me, I'm doing my show. As you guys know, I always try to look the way my profile picture looks. I don't want you guys to click and be like, ooh, she don't look like that. I make it a point. I have hair and makeup 30 minutes before my show. Y'all ain't never see me out of whack. You know what I'm saying? Because again, I feel presentation is important and you guys have an expectation of me. So I stick to that. So again, Smitty, what does it mean to you when I say you're dressed on how you dress? What do you talk to me when you see different women dress the way they do? Because you're in a different generation of me, so your mindset might be different. What say you?
Yeah, I would say to that briefly, Gracie. My mindset, I said mindset. I didn't sleep since yesterday, y'all, so bear with me. I haven't had rest today. So my mind may be a little jumbled. Just disclaimer. When it comes to how you dress, I look at how you dress is basically the representation of what the interior is. And I'm talking about out in public, not like in your home and stuff, right? Like when you go out, how you look, how you present yourself in public has a lot to do with what's going on the inside. The very first thing that we know as an indicator that a person is suffering from some kind of depression or they got mental issues is appearance and hygiene. That's like off rip. So your appearance has a lot to do with the representation of who you are on the inside. And even down to Gracie, what I was saying to you was that my mind probably isn't as far back as you think, because I'm one of them. When I was coming up, I used to steal my dad's tapes of 70s music, and I was one of them. I always hang out with the OGs and the elders. I was one of them. I had a lot of people I hung with that was like 5-10 years older than me easily. So anyway, your appearance, I told my woman, she might hear this too, whatever, so what? I told her, like, don't let your nails get a certain length. It's a part of your appearance, right? We were also told, if anybody remembers, always have on clean underwear. Why? You never know if you gotta go to the hospital. Why is that? Because you don't want complete strangers seeing what the representation of you is, and that could be of filth or that can be of cleanliness. The way a woman dressed around me has a lot to do with how I know her headspace is. If I'm talking to a woman and I get to looking at her Instagram or her face, her social media, right? And it's a whole bunch of like sexy red type dressing going on type shit, movements, atmospheres, all of that. Yeah, I mean, off rip. I'm not, no, because the way you dress, that off rip tells me 9 times out of 10 where your head at. You can look at I can look at a woman, how she's dressed, and damn near almost to a T tell you what you can possibly talk to her about and what she probably has no interest in. It's not a guarantee, but I'm about a good 90% on the shot. About a good 90%. So if your appearance is not something that is of, I would say, some form of dignity and respect, then, don't expect to be treated with a lot of dignity and respect. Expect for whatever to come with that. I had to recognize that when I used to dress and present myself a certain way, looking too hood or whatever, I had to recognize, well, when you go in certain places and when people look at you like you might baby about to shoot the place up, or when they feel like they may have to follow you through the store or whatever because of your appearance, and you may look like a bunch of niggas who done came in there and done other things. Why do we put on clothes to look a certain way? Because that is the representation of who we are on the inside. And you're right, Grace, to land it. You're right. When you have, like, when I have on a suit, crisp, nice and clean, tie, not no clip on, we do that double Windsor. But when you got everything on, you damn sure do feel different. You got you a fresh cut, you got on some good smell goods and everything. I mean, that's where it's at. It's a total different feeling than what I have on right now, which is this gray hoodie and gray sweatpants. I digress. My mic is muted. Thank you for your patience. Rock out.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and thank you for that insight. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're hearing it from the horse's mouth. We're listening it from men. If you want to learn about men, we have to learn from men, and you have to hear what they have to say. Because I know a lot of us are trying to get a man, a lot of us are trying to get married, and you got to get the playbook, or you are not going to score that touchdown. Okay, and I am the bridge that is helping you ladies give you the playbook. And I do have to do a disclaimer. This is not just for the women. I got a lot of y'all ratchet men out there who calling themselves kings, but I cannot take you seriously when your pants is hanging and your ass is half out. I don't care how much money you got, or how much jewelry you got, or how nice your car is, or how good your job is. But if you can't hold your pants up, you will not be able to hold my attention up. Again, maybe that's old school thinking. These young girls like that bullshit, but it is not manly. And if you guys know the real definition of what that means, then y'all already know. And if whoever doesn't know, put a one in the chat group, and I'll be happy to educate you. All right. So with that being said, True, tell me what you have to say about, do you address people according to how they dress?
Me personally, I don't address people based on the way they dress, but that's just me individually. But I won't say that we don't live in a world where people do tend to receive people based on what they see. That's just the world we live in. So I think one thing Gary said that I know it's a popular mantra, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover, but that's such a contradictory statement because everybody judges a book by its cover. Marketing is built around judging a book by its cover. You're not going to buy a house that looks in destitute. You're not going to buy a car that looks like it's beat, you know, to the brakes. And you're definitely not going to pursue someone in a romantic capacity unless they present to you something that is appeasing to the eye. But you do have to, in my opinion, put some effort into your aesthetic. What I found is that a lot of people just don't have style, and that's okay. You tend to see people dress and present themselves in the world based on their environment or based on the lack of awareness of environment. You know, just because you live in the inner city doesn't mean you won't make your way uptown or, you know, into certain, you know, districts. People don't tend to think outside of their immediate environment. So sometimes what you see is what they're accustomed to. But I think there does need to be a more concentrated effort to be familiar with how you're being perceived to the world. And the only way I think you can do that effectively is if you dress yourself, groom yourself, and then put yourself in a multitude of environments and then see how your reception is based on your presentation. But I digress. My mic is muted.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. So to me, I try not to address people on how they dress because they could just be having a bad hair day. Y'all didn't see me plenty of days. When one thing's weak, I try to strengthen other areas, you know, but this going to the airport in bonnets and fuzzy slippers and Crocs, it's unacceptable. I remember when I was a kid, we used to dress up like we was going to church when you got on an airplane because it was a high-end privilege to be on an airplane. And I'm not saying we got to dress like that, but I'm sure y'all saw that Instagram where the lady was in line in Spirit Airlines and both her ass cheeks were showing. Who does that? It was a little shirt. It should have been a dress for a much slimmer woman, but because she was a little bit on the heavy side, it went up a little bit. I mean, you don't wear drawers to go on an airplane? You know, I've heard a lot of men say that lingerie don't excite them anymore because women wear it out on the streets with Jordans. I mean, there's nothing left to entice a man if you show it all out at one time. There's nothing left to excite in the bedroom if you're showing it all out and then you're showing it all out to everybody to see. How is a man supposed to address you? And we'll get into that, but there was a lesson that my mother taught me, and she was married to my father for 37 years. And yes, she was a homemaker, so she had the time to do this bullshit. But at the same time, she didn't have to, but she made it a conscious effort. She always told me, you always greet your husband nicely, freshly showered, made up, hair done, teeth clean, supper on the table, and house clean. I get it. A lot of us are not homemakers and we work and everything. But on our days off, what's your excuse? We get lazy. Men too. Let me put that disclaimer. We put our best foot forward the first 6, 7, 8, 9 months. What happens after a year now? You don't comb your hair. You wear the flannel pajamas. No more sexy underwears. Grandma panties. You're only supposed to be wearing grandma panties a few days out the month. Everything else is irrelevant. We have, it's easy to get a person, but the trick is, can you keep them? My dad used to say that to my brother. See your mother? She ain't going nowhere, because I make sure I take care of every need that she won't ever need another man. And they were together for 37 years because my dad made sure my mom was straight and my mom made sure my dad was straight. My dad married a trophy wife and she maintained her trophiness. And she knew she had to maintain that because she could have been replaced easily. And that's what I'm trying to relay out here, ladies and gentlemen. I get it. We're tired. We're running to the grocery store to get some, just milk, bread, and eggs. But come on, we got to do better. We have to do better. This bullshit with the bonnets and the pants hanging and wife beaters and slides with dirty socks. Damn, if you're going to wear slides with socks, at least make sure the socks are clean. And this has nothing to do with race. We all races do it. We all ratchet up in here and we've all done it. But the thing is, we got to do better. We got to do more better than worse. So with that being said, why is it important to dress appropriately, whether it's in the workplace, at family functions, sporting events, dates, church, children's school, club, airports, grocery store? Why? Because your appearance, no matter what anyone says, thinks or feel, is often the first thing they notice about you. Dressing appropriately can help form a positive impression to people you meet, especially in the workplace. If you work in the corporate world, you cannot be walking around with tight ass shirt, short ass skirts. You got married people in there. It's just, no, you're creating a hostile environment. And not only are you representing yourself, but you represent that company, the shareholders, the board of directors. And nobody will take you seriously if you dress like a hoochie mama or a dog at work or sloppy. I think these past two generations don't know what an iron is. Do y'all know what starch is? Do you know how to iron? Because I didn't see some people that look like they rolled out of a laundry basket. And that irks me. I mean, you knew that shit was wrinkled before you got out the house. Why didn't somebody tell you better? But again, these younger generations, they're okay with that. It doesn't matter to them. If you want people to listen, respect you, and take you seriously, you will be, no matter how much you want to deny it, no matter how much you want to say it doesn't, but you will be addressed according to how you dress and how you will be addressed. The clothes you wear and the way you groom yourself will have a psychological way on how people view and hear what you say. And it will also subconsciously tell them if you're like them or if you're different. And this is all from riskology.com. It will, in fact, determine whether people will listen or ignore you. That's how serious the situation is. Gary, I know you got something to say, and go ahead.
So what I wanted to say in one of my experiences, you had mentioned about dealing with work, right? So I've dealt in the music industry, and I've dealt on Wall Street in investment banking. And in my early days in the music industry, I would dress with the hoodie, the jeans, the Timbs, all of that, right? And that was fine for what I did, right? But when I got into investment banking, then it became, the more professional, the suit, the dress shirts, the ties, looking more business and professional. And that became my look, because I felt a lot more comfortable with that. And my role has always been more of the business role. So in that, I have to look a certain way. So what has happened over the last, 30 years or so, most people that know me, they always know me dressed up in a suit or a jacket, dress shirt, something always looking professional. I've had people that always say, even in my own neighborhood, it's like, damn, every time I see you, you always in a suit or you always dress, right? And as you say, people look at neighborhood is like, damn, every time I see you, right? People look at you different, right? I've had a couple of women say that, wow, you're out of my league because I'm always dressed, right? I mean, to me, that the professional look has always been my style, right? That fit me. Only time you catch me in a hoodie now is if I'm home. But if I'm going outside of my block, and when I say outside of my block, like, you know, not to the store, then I'm dressed. So it's definitely, at least to me, for me, is I like dressing professional. That's my way. That's what I feel comfortable with. I think with a lot of these new people, this new generation, they want to dress however they want, and they just want it to be acceptable. I have a friend that's a senior HR manager, and some of the applicants have come in dressed for a job interview. Your mouth would be on the floor. Like, who trains them, right? We know that if you're going for a job interview, you have to look professional, you know, clean cut, all the right things. And you get some of these people that don't even do that. So yeah, so there is a problem out there. And I end with that.
Okay, I appreciate it. So as you guys can tell, I did a little wardrobe change. Look how totally I'm slouching on my chair. I got a hat on. It's not gonna take me seriously if I'm trying to do a show right now, teaching people advising people how to dress. I'll be a damn fool. I mean, I still look cute. You know what I'm saying? You can't change the cuteness, but you can change the mood and the essence and the aura. Nobody, you know, and this is what I'm trying to show everybody, that is the way you dress is the mood that you set for that person and your representation. Now, everybody knows I love my New York Yankees. I'm gonna wear my attire, but imagine if I dress like this every day. You know, I'd be confused. Well, no, not with a boy, because I always wear my makeup and stuff. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, what up? Even if I change the way I talk, what's up, son? Y'all good? You good? It's gonna be different. People are going to address me differently. Yo, what's good, mom? What's good, shorty? How you living? True, you good? Can you hear me, True? So let me ask you guys a question. Another question. It is actually, well, I'm going to say a statement first. It is actually a psychological fact that the way you dress, people will address you in that manner. Y'all think if you're dressed half naked, that a person or a man is going to take you seriously? Do you think that a man wearing saggy pants, but it's all this jewelry, a grill, and all of that you're going to be taken seriously with a job interview? I was so picky when I used to hire that if you asked me for a pen to fill out the application, I would say, no, thank you. You go ahead and go to Burger King. I was a store manager at McDonald's. Because if you can't even bring a pen to fill out an application, I'm not going to hire you. That's how strict I was, because that's telling me a lot about you already. Then I would notice what time you came to the interview and how you were dressed. That meant something to me. And sometimes I purposely make you wait just to see if you wait for me. And if we were busy and I couldn't get to you, I would go ahead and send somebody and get a breakfast order, feed you or whatever. But if you stayed there and you were dressed properly and you came on time, yeah, I'm gonna sit down and talk to you. That's how important it is. No matter how much we want to deny it, no matter how much we want to say, poor Monique, poor Ting Ting, she really tried to tell us women out here how important it is to dress and not to dress like that at the airport. She was stunned on how women were dressed when she went to the airport in Atlanta. And you know what she got? She got cursed the fuck out. She got a lot of backlash. You can't tell me how to, you can't tell nobody nothing nowadays. But where all the good men are? They with the classy ladies. So with that being said, True, what do you have to add on to that?
Well, I think your physical appearance, you know, your clothes, your makeup, your hygiene, it's really just a reinforcement of who you are potentially dealing with. And I think what has happened is you're seeing the demise of style, proper wear, because a lot of things are being, everything is being challenged as far as social norms, whether that's family dynamics, you know, single family households, masculinity. Everything's a symptom. That's how I see it. Because before, the reason why things were reinforced is because we had communities that reinforced standard. So you would not see certain representation because it was not socially allowed. Now people still are disgusted when they see things that are out of pocket, but everyone's to themselves. Like you said, you can't tell anyone nothing. It's just a kind of a decay. But I think what you're seeing is a rebellion. The younger demographic tries to challenge old social norms by maybe if you do say, hey, you know, like, yo, pull your pants up, or like, who told you it's okay to walk out the house with what are them things called, Crocs? And then they'll respond to your assertion by saying, I got 10,000 followers or 20,000 followers on IG. I made
dirty Crocs.
Dirty Crocs. I got, you know, I made 200,000 last year. So what you're seeing happen, in my opinion, is that it's being challenged. It is a rebellion. It's a more of a very adolescent type of attitude. And it doesn't just belong in the young people. I've seen it with people who are older than me. I think people are just trying to challenge a social norm. And it's going just way overboard. Even like you said, Grace, trying to identify with, you know, well, maybe I need to dress a certain way so that I'm perceived to be someone who can be taken seriously. I'm perceived to be someone who is deserving of respect. We don't live in a respectful society. So a lot of those things they're just gone. Even a job, they're like, a job, I'm gonna open businesses or whatever it may be. I'm gonna be a SoundCloud rapper or a YouTuber. Like we're dealing with a different climate. And so you're just seeing a response to that. That's my take on it. I digress. My mic is muted.
I would
Before
add
you
to
chime
this.
in, I gotta read this.
Oh, rock out. Take your time.
Hold on, let me read this comment. I gotta get to it. My girl, nah, a guy would consider us all the same. I'm gonna have to disagree on that one, and I'm a woman, my gal, because yeah, they'll consider us, but they'll put us in certain categories. Men know if they're gonna consider you as a lady, they're gonna consider you as a girlfriend, they're gonna consider you as pump and dump. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna consider you as a booty call on the way you carry yourself and handle yourself. It means a lot to a man what he has next to his arm, especially. I mean, I don't even want to say high value, because what's understood doesn't need to be explained. I want to talk to my average guys. They want a girl to be put well together as well. They want, I did not know until I started falling in love with Kevin Samuels, that y'all men did not like the long claw nails, did not like the weaves, did not like the wigs. I really thought that us women were doing all that for y'all. I mean, my guy got on top on my butt about my eyelashes. I still can't let him go, but he's already put it out there. He even sent me a recipe of what to buy if I wanted to grow my eyelashes naturally. And we're going to talk about that because that type of communication matters in a relationship. But I'm not ready yet. I told her I'm not ready yet. You know what I'm
Wait
saying?
a minute, Grace. You're gonna have a show.
I tend to keep them.
My bad. I forgot your delay. You gonna ask us to talk about eyelashes?
Okay, so yeah, he's talking to me about my eyelash. Yeah, I wear eyelashes, but I don't wear them to the point. Sometimes you got to really look. Are those real or not? I don't, but I do wear eyelashes. But you see, I make it to the point where they look natural, not where they look like truck flaps. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous. So with that being said, you guys, I want y'all to talk about. She said another comment. I gotta get. And she said here, right? They'll put you in categories. Red lipstick survives. Hey, Queen, lashes show. Yeah, lashes make my eyes pop. But the thing is, he's voiced it, and that's where that's the second part of the show about communication. So, Smitty, it's your turn now. As far as everything that we've been talking about, what do you have to add to that?
I would add to what you were talking about. True. I'm not even like disagreeing, because for real, what you're saying, I mean, I totally get it, because I've seen some people that have worked certain positions in life, and if you've seen them outside of their job, you would never know that's what they did. You have no clue this dude works at this place if you see him outside the job. So I get it. You know, some people real deal be on their downtime when it comes to the dress wear. What I'm speaking of specifically is, put it like this. If you go out and you have shoes on that are kind of turned over, right? They talking. That's what we call them, talking. So you got shoes that's talking. Your shirt real dingy, and the neck is all stretched out, sleeves all everywhere, wild looking, and you got a funny smell to you. Can't quite tell, is that urine or just like outside? Like, what is that? You will be treated a certain way. And I'm saying that to say, because I've come across people, I mean, when you get to talking to them, I mean, God damn, I mean, they're an awesome person. But it will continue to be looked over because of their appearance. It's a reason why, take a kingdom. The knights don't dress like the regular people, whoever, you know, the bishops, the king himself, all of them, their attire is different. Why? Because it is one, a representation of who they are. Whoever, you know, the bishops, the king himself, it's a representation of who they are, and it's also to distinguish. Anytime that you're out in public, you really are greeted on how you dress. And to land it, I would say is that when I have on a suit, does somebody have something playing, Gracie? Somebody got something on.
I just lowered it.
There you go. All right. When I have on a suit, I do notice the high increase in, excuse me, mister, sir. It's not no just for, hey, bruh, or no. I mean, I'm talking about from my own. You know how disrespectful we can be when greeting. So all I'm saying is that I do notice a huge difference When I'm dressed up a certain way, I got my little vest on, you know, my button-up shirt and everything. It's way different than just how you're spoken to, how you're greeted. If you're dealing with any kind of business with customer service, it's a total different feel just from your appearance alone. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out, Brody.
Let me chime in something quick, Grace.
Gentlemen, that's why Kevin Samuels used to say, dress up on Saturday and hold on just a second. Let me finish this thought. Kevin Samuels used to say, dress up on a Saturday, run your errands in a suit, and see how different people are going to treat you. Try that experiment. Try something y'all never done before. Make pretend it's opposite day. Go ahead, Gary. By the way, I'm changing to my corporate look now.
Yeah, so I mean, dealing with dressing up, like as I said, my look has always been that business look. So yeah, I always get the sir and all the proper respectable greetings. But what I wanted to talk about is that you mentioned something about what Kevin Samuels said in regards to the eyelashes and nails and women with makeup. Here's the thing, at least with me, I don't like a woman that's gonna plaster on makeup, right? I understand makeup accents, right? It can accent your features, which is great. The eyelashes, don't let it get like, if it's gonna be on some ghetto stuff, nah, that doesn't work. When it comes to the nails, it can't be ghetto. There is a certain length that's classy, like the French manicure or the white nail tips. But when it starts to get like long, where it's like curving, where some of these chicks think it's cool, no, that's ghetto. So in my book, ghetto doesn't work for me. It has to be classy, right? It has to be, it has to be elegant. Because the people that I'm around and I deal with, you have to be representing me in a certain way. I can't have no chick that's gonna be looking, ghetto or trashy or don't have her stuff together. And the people that know me know that the type of women that I deal with, and it's funny because some tell me that I'm too stuck up or I'm high maintenance or what have you, but it's like, you have to have standards, right? You have to have standards.
Can I ask a quick question? True, you there, bro? Real quick. True, you there? All right. Well, if he come back, I'll ask him or whatever. Go ahead, Gracie. Soap just crept up in here like a damn real ninja.
Oh, he's back. He's
What's
back.
going on?
No announcing himself, nothing. Just walk in, don't knock. What's up, Soap?
What's going on, Smitty?
Chilling, man. Real quick. All right, so I get your position, and it's just a question. Like, I wonder, because some people actually agree that all establishments should abolish dress code. Do you believe that dress code should be upheld for certain? I mean, for certain places, if they choose to. I mean, of course, we know if they want to, it's their business. But let's just say on a moral tip, just morally, do you think establishments should have a dress code, or I should be allowed to go to the gala or to the opera and shit and my hoodie, as opposed to putting on my tux or my suit? Rock out.
I believe that a dress code is more in representation of the standard that they're trying to uphold as far as quality, demographic, things of that nature. I can see how it could be considered marginalized or maybe discriminative is a better word. But I think that that's where I was trying to allude to. What we're talking about is something that is just a human standard.
Right. I get you. I get you.
So what I also believe is that we have a demographic or maybe even a divide where we're trying to rebel against the social norm. If the social norm, I'll put it to you like this: if we were Amish, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, primarily because we wouldn't have electricity, so we wouldn't be on these devices. But yeah,
that's fair. You're funny. But you get what I'm saying.
Right.
There's certain groups of people who fashion is relatively consistent. You know, our small hats tend to dress very similar with their representation. But the uniform of sorts is important. I think that yes, as a business, as an establishments are built off of a market. So if I have a particular market, it's smart for me to be able to go ahead and advertise to that market. If you are not my set market, I have every right to impose a standard of what I want to continue to patronize my business.
Right.
If you want
Last part on that, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I'm asking that, because so let me ask you this, because this is really what I'm alluding to. Would you agree that maybe also a part of that dress code is because by having a dress code, it also highly increases your chances of not having a certain type of crowd there? So would you say that has validity, or, would you say that that's not racist, but, just kind of like effed up to say, just because I'm coming in with jeans, you thinking I'm gonna start some shit? Because that's really what it is too. They have a certain attire because generally people dressed in a certain attire. Somebody dressed like, a Kevin Samuels or something, if you want to say, rest in peace to that black man, right? Usually people, we got our instances now, but generally speaking, you're not going to get a whole bunch of nigga shit with people who are at certain places dressed a certain way. Especially if you know how niggas are. We don't want to get no suits messed up because we might got to take it back. I don't know. But I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
I think so to answer your question, I think that you're partially correct. I think it's just intelligent. If you're observing the world as a business owner or owner of property or whatever it may be, Chris Rock even talked about this. He said, I don't like the police, but then I own property. Like, when you get to certain levels in life and you want something to continue to grow and expand, well, you observe a reality. So if I want to keep something growing and thriving, first I have to set a standard. Then I have to identify what I'm selling. Secondly, that's not a complete viable statement, because in the 40s, gangsters wore suits and went out. So it's not just that a certain demographic doesn't wear certain things. I mean, if I'm very familiar with the mafia, at one time, zoot suits, that's what they wore. And they was bodying people on a regular basis. So,
touche.
So I believe it's regional, it's national. I'm over here on the West Coast. We dress very different, comparable to the East Coast and the South and so on. But I'm gonna stick to my original point. I think what's happening, especially if you're talking about our community particularly, is living in a state of rebellion because we're in a predominantly Caucasian white society. We try to make our comfort the norm, and it's not. That's just where I'll sit with that. But I digress. My mic is muted.
I get that. I do believe also that those who share my skin tone and features definitely have a huge identity crisis.
Before we jump in, let me go ahead and introduce.
Rock out, Gracie. Go ahead, baby.
Oh.
Grace, let Smitty shoot. I'm doing something cool. Let him shoot.
Sir. Okay, I just gave the assist. Go ahead, Soap. I just gave the assist. Gary, you gonna dunk it? Who doing it? I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Well, what I was gonna do is I was gonna introduce Soap. He is the piece of our tripod on Saturday nights. Come check us out on Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Actually, Embracing Smitty's Corner. We have a show every Saturday night at 8 p.m. So please come check us out. Like, subscribe, share. So my fam, we talking about, do people get addressed on how they dress? So give me your opinion on how you handle people according to how they dress? Rock on.
Of course, people are looked at a certain way by how they dress. But I agree with the brother True. It's based on society, regulations and norms and things that we have adopted, right? That's been indoctrinated to us. You know what I mean? And if we were a part of a different culture, a different ethnic group or different surroundings, you know what I mean? How we address each other would be different. If we lived in Brazil, they're not really wearing much in Brazil because they can't. It's too hot. You ain't gonna wear no North Face in Brazil. You'll die. Straight up. Like, and we know this. So, you know what I mean? All the things that we adopt, especially people of color, we adopt it from someone else. You know what I mean? And we make it our own by our own ways of doing it. You know what I mean? And whether it's music, the way we dress, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We take stuff and then we try to make it into our own because, you know what I mean? As Smitty said, we have an identity crisis within this country because we do. We're always trying to figure it out because we're trying to figure out who we are and what we do. When it comes to style of dress, of course, there are settings where certain things are looked at a certain way, right? And because I've been conditioned to do this, if I see somebody dress a certain way, you know what I mean? And if they're in a business setting, but they're wearing, you know what I mean? They're wearing like, you know, boy shorts or they wearing, you know what I'm saying? A chick is wearing, you know, the Daisy Dukes or whatever. I'm gonna look at her a certain way. Like, yo, this is a business man. Like, what you doing? You know what I mean? Because I know there's others watching, you know what I mean, who don't understand, you know what I mean, what she's doing. You know what I mean? Or they don't basically, you know what I mean? They don't basically live in the same communities. They don't have the same experience, so they're gonna look at her a certain way. So it's gonna be more of me being like, yo, like you gotta basically dress for your audience. You know what I mean? Dress for success, as they say it. Because it's not saying dress for success for me, but dress for success for those who are watching. You know what I'm saying? Because I have an understanding that everybody's different. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you know that's my thing, and I really don't try to judge people by what they wear. You know what I mean? Because it was a time where our people was wearing loincloth and feathers. You feel what I'm saying? The headdresses or whatever. So I get that. So yeah, I try not to judge people by what they wear. I try to really judge them by their actions. But in the same instance, you know what I mean? I really try to excuse me, I really try to like just keep it to the point where, you know, I do think for me, I think certain things are presentable and not presentable. But like I said, it's based on, you know what I mean, you know, what I've been taught or what I feel or what I personally feel. It doesn't make it right, but it's just things that I personally feel. You know what I'm saying? So now I believe also it's a difference between what you wear and your behaviors, what you do and what you wear. If your behaviors are a certain way, right? Because you could be damn near naked, but if you acting respectfully, you're not bothering nobody. You're not out here just doing the most and you're just walking around. If you'll see a female, you'll see two females, one wearing a bikini, another wearing a bikini. There's one girl who's wearing a bikini, she's just chilling. She's not bothering nobody. You know what I mean? She's chilling on the beach and she's just relaxing. She's not bothering no one. You know what I mean? She's not trying to get attention. She's not twerking. She's just going in the water, swimming, coming out, drying off, and maybe, you know, enjoying the picnic with everybody else. She's not doing the most. You have another girl in a bikini and she's tripping. You know what I mean? She's dancing up on other dudes, whether it's her man or not. She's twerking all over the place. She's throwing sand on people. Like, damn, she wilding. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it could be two different behaviors, and we've seen it. And we even seen people, you know, if you've been to certain areas, especially if you've been in the tropics, you've seen people go to a beach where they do nudity, right? You have one person sunbathing nude, and like I said, they chilling. They just want to get their tan on, and they want to get up out of there. They're not bothering nobody. Another person, if they're on a new beach, they want to walk around and be a spectacle, and they want everybody to see what they peacocking. You know what I mean? We've seen it. So it's your behaviors based on what you wear as well. I think that goes along with it. You know what I mean? So yeah.
When I become president in 2024, that's the first thing I'm abolishing is all nude beaches. It's from the devil himself. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
All right, guys, I got another look for y'all. You know what I'm saying? What up, kids? You know what I'm saying? Imagine if I dress like this when I come on my show every Thursday night, and I'm trying to help people become better versions of themselves. What would you guys? I mean, seriously, would you guys really take me seriously?
I want to know where you getting all these clothes from that fast.
Yeah or nay?
How you keep doing that?
Because I have them all laid out.
That's quick.
I used to be a model, so I'm used to dressing in and out of clothes quickly. You know, I have certain shirts buttoned already, certain outfits laid out, makeup matches all the.
You know how long it take me to get drawers and a hoodie on sometimes?
Because I'm trying to make a point. The mood changes with every.
Go ahead, Grace.
Yo, I appreciate everybody that's running their stream through my channel. I really appreciate y'all. I appreciate the exposure. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. But I really thought about this. I said, I need to change outfits so y'all really could see how my mood changes or how I talk different. You know what I'm saying? You know, kid, because you know I'm trying to move up in the world.
I do
because
want
psychology proved.
Oh.
Go ahead.
No, I said I do want to address that young lady's comment, if I can. I'll speak for myself and then what I believe I've observed for most men. Most of the time, men give women the benefit of the doubt when they're dressed any kind of way. Now, I think it's an assumption that they'll say, oh, well, men will put you in a category. I don't believe men put you in a category solely based on what you're wearing. I think you get put in a category if what you're wearing is consistent with what we assume it is based on what you're wearing. And that's usually if it's something on the more promiscuous side or, you know, lacking some level of classiness. I think the intellectual soapbox touched on it. It's more about your behavior. If you have on something that's overly revealing, or if you, you know, some women like to advertise their best assets, whether that be their breasts or their you know, their
True,
abs.
true. We can take it to an even more basic level, my G. How about this one? Would you take a pastor serious that came in dressed like me? Or do we really, or now, is that what we've been bred on? We're just so used to seeing pastor in a suit. Or do you believe that really genuinely pastor should have on a suit like the president, right? When you're speaking to the people, because it's a representation of your authority and your position, and you can't look like the common folk and be the leader. Sometimes the leader has to stand out, and that even has to show up in their appearance. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
I think that you know, yeah, I can't say that I wouldn't look at the pastor a little.
I want to touch on something, True, before you get started.
Go ahead, Greg.
Hold on, where'd the bonnet come from?
To touch on Smitty's thing, yes. Where you just noticing that?
Just noticed it. Because I keep, you know, I'm looking different.
According to how they.
Go ahead.
I've been at it. People do dress do act and talk according to how they're dressed. That's why it is important to maintain a dress code, because establishments want to establish a certain type of culture. Okay, I went to private Catholic school for high school, and I was so appreciative that we wore uniforms because everybody looked the same. You didn't have to stress out every night about what the hell you had to wear. You didn't have to be in competition with nobody. With the girls, the competitions were the EG socks, you know, with our penny loafers, and with the boys, the competition with the belts. They had Gucci belts. It made life much easier to where I think schools should all have uniforms, because it would help single mothers having to worry about buying clothes, the competition, people stealing your Jordans, everybody. And I even asked one of my teachers, her name was Mr. Grace, uniforms, and she was like, because you act different when you dress accordingly. Boys had to wear blazers and shirt and ties. I don't care. We was in Florida. 98 degrees weather. And them boys had to wear blazers with shirt and ties, and we had to wear Onyx shirts with blazers and skirts. And you know what I'm saying? It does make a difference, Smitty. You act different. Like you said, you don't want to get that ghetto element in there. I'm not saying that people who dress inappropriately are all ghetto, but you tend to behave a certain way on how you dress. If you have a certain caliber of people dressing up in button-down shirts and polos and in pretty dresses, you're gonna act different from when you're wearing
Gracie,
ratchet ass shit and your pants hanging down. It's been proven.
Damn it, I forgot the delay. I keep forgetting it's delayed. My bad. I gotta get used to that timing. Now I was just gonna say, go back to like the 40s and 50s. Now, would we say that majority of the kids back then were, let's just say, like more work ethic, probably just a little bit more mature, on certain levels? I'm talking about like from 8-year-olds and everything. My point is that even back in like the 50s, like when I look at pictures from like my pops and him, like granddad and all them, they were like 10 years old with damn near looking like they going to church. And that's how they dressed. And I also noticed how what their headspace is when it comes to like discipline. If you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. Make sure that you're proper. All of that. The be stoic, be studious. Make sure your morals and your integrity and your discipline is in place. All of these things come with that. And then when I look back on their pictures, they ain't look like us. That's all I'm saying. They didn't. The average wear was basically like what we wear for the typical job interview. Polo, slack, it is. And that's just how they dressed. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Let me say this because my time is short, y'all. I gotta support my lead channel, but my thing is this, right? Everything that you mentioned to Smitty is what the brother True was talking about. These are things that you have been taught. They're not something that you have adopted on your own or that our people historically adopted from themselves. This is based on, a colonized European society, right? That's what your rules and your customs are coming from. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with what you believe at all. And I like some of these things, right? Like I said, I like a lot of the traditional stuff. I like when my grandfather used to come in and we used to have to run upstairs and it was quiet. I know that's kind of dysfunctional, but I miss them days. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I find comfort in those old school days. He'll come in, he'll grab the remote from my grandmother, he'll sit down, he'll drink his beer, and all the kids will be quiet or go upstairs. I like the old school. I liked that. That's a sense of comfort for me in my childhood.
Them one TV in the house days.
Yeah.
You had to wait.
I mean, it was a TV upstairs, but it wasn't the big TV, right? Now, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, so there's certain things that I do appreciate and like about, the traditional stuff, but these are things that I like, right? These are things that you like that are traditional, right? We like things that are traditional based on maybe it reminds us of something or maybe it reminds us of our childhood or whatever, right? But I will say this though, right, as well. When I was going to church, right, and I got older, and I was able to pick out my clothes and pick out what I wanted to wear, the church I decided to go to was a church where the pastor was wearing, basic stuff, man. He was wearing hoodies, he was wearing t-shirts, he was wearing all that, and he appealed to me. You know what I mean? And I felt comfortable there because it was like they was appealing to the everyday man or the everyday young man at that time. Now this is almost 20 years ago, right? I'm not trying to age myself, but it is what it is, right? You know what I mean? But that's what made me feel comfortable. That's what made me want to go to the church and be a part of it because I felt like these were people that understood me and they also spoke the way I spoke. They listened to the music I listened to, but they served God. You know what I'm saying? And they represented God. You feel what I'm saying? So, but I needed that. You know what I mean? Because I needed to be at a place where I felt accepted and I didn't feel judged. Because when I went to my home church, when I was wearing my, I was wearing my parasucos and my, and my, like I say, I ain't trying to date myself, but whatever. My parasucos and all that, and my, and my flat farm shirts and all that, they was judging me. You know what I'm saying? They was judging me. You know what I mean? I couldn't come up in there, you know what I mean, wearing my hats and my jeans and my sneakers and all that. They were judging me. They looked at me funny. And they was laughing, and I seen them laughing. Now this is a church that my family built from the ground up. My uncle helped build the church from the ground up, and they laughing at me. Me, of all people, is getting laughed at, right? And that changed me. I was like, yo, I ain't never coming back here again, and I didn't. Know what I mean? I only came like that one time, and that was for my for one of my folks, you know what I mean, funerals. You know what I'm saying? One of my family members' funerals. That's the only time I ever came back for that. You know what I'm saying? Definitely Tika, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, everybody, man. Salute to Tika, glad she up in the building. But yeah, salute to Lady Phoenix and everybody else I see up in the building. She stole my thunder. I see you as well. Salute to you. But yeah, with that being said, like, you know what I mean? That's what made me feel comfortable going to the ministry that I went to, because they accepted me for me. And that's what I needed at that time. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I think I still need that to today. But even if I seen a pastor who's wearing a suit, I wouldn't feel away. But me seeing them, you know, being, you know, just regular people and knowing and talking the talk that I talk and doing the things that I did, not everything I did, because like I said, it was a part of the church. But that allowed me to feel comfortable. So yeah. I actually like Grace, you wearing that bonnet on Saturday.
Let me just go ahead and continue to let you guys know from rickpsychology.com. You want me to wear the bonnet on Saturday?
Yeah, wear the bonnet on Saturday, girl.
How about that?
Hey, we're not doing no setting my twin up. We're not setting my twin up. Go ahead with that bullshit. So go ahead with it, man.
So it says here, psychology proves that we as humans have many preconceived notions and stereotypes and are built within our own assumptions of other people. It's human nature. It's human psychology. We can't help ourselves. No matter how much we are told not to judge a book by its cover, countless times, we as humans are innately judgmental and quick to piece together an assumption based on what we see. It's just human nature. No matter how much we try not to, no matter how much we try to push it to the side, no matter how much we try to suppress it, it's just human nature. You see me here on my show tonight, somebody who ain't never seen me like this, they're gonna be like, what the hell is going on with Grace tonight? But I'm trying to prove y'all a point. I done brought up 4 different looks. I got one last one and that's it. I'm gonna save the best for last. But the point is your dress, how you dress affects your mood, the mood of people around you, how they perceive you, how they will handle you. So I asked men some questions and I wrote down their answers. Hold on one second. And one told me the main problem in relationships when there's a wardrobe issue is that women don't take their men seriously. And to me, that's crazy, because if you're willing to exchange bodily fluids with a person and you say he's your man, why would you not go under his covering? He says, man voices his opinions for 2 reasons. Out of respect for her, himself, and this is the biggie that we as women don't understand, for her safety. We confuse it as a man being controlling, whereas that man is really just trying to maintain safety for his women. I'm gonna say that again for the people in the peanut gallery and all the way in the back. Men voice their opinion about how you dress for 2 reasons. Out of respect for you as the woman, out of respect for himself. Remember what we said before, you are an extension of that relationship, and for the relationship itself and for her safety. They claim they want a man, but all they really want is a man body with a boy mindset. And then I asked him, well, why do you think women dress the way they do nowadays? And his answer was they want attention, competition, they're looking to get laid, they're looking to get fed, or they're looking to get money. Women don't know how to accept constructive criticism. The men need to speak up more. I said, well, when the men do try to speak up, it turns into a fight. I said, well, that's the problem. We wait too long to speak up. We can't wait till we 6, 7, 8, 9 months into the relationship. That needs to be nipped in the bud right away. What do you guys, this conversation right here I had was with a man. What do you guys have to either add or negate to that? Because again, we're only going to learn about men from men. What do you have to, let's start with Gary. Gary, what do you have to chime in with that?
Well, first, I mean, you know, when you're in a relationship, you have to have clear communication and understanding with each other. And clearly, you are into how each other dress, right? So, because before you start to date, part of what attracted you to the other person is their dress, right? Their style, right? So, so as you get into the relationship and what's going on, you still want to see that person still dress how they were, you know, when you first met them, right? I think that is very important. I know in my past relationships, I like my lady a certain way, and they understood that, right? You know, there's some women who, for them to dress up, if you will, that's like twisting their arm. There's other women who dressing up for them is like a regular everyday thing, right? So, you know, I think that, you know, it's definitely important that when you get into a relationship, you have to find out, you know, what each other likes when it comes to dressing, right? What is acceptable, right? What is not acceptable? Some men, they don't want their lady dressing too sexy, whether she's with him or not, right? You know, and it could be very challenging, but I think the important thing is that you definitely want to talk to your partner and find out, you know, what's appropriate dressing, you know, and some people may think that's corny, but I think it's a real conversation, right? And understanding how some women are, knowing that dressing is a part of their expression, right? Then they have to deal with a guy that's going to be okay with how she expresses herself, right? Because it may not, the way she dresses and expresses herself is not for every guy. And I'll end on that. It's not for every guy. I'll end on that.
Is Gracie here? What's going on?
Well, that was perfect timing. Okay, last wardrobe change. Okay, so with that being said, Truth, what do you have to say about what I got information from men that I spoke to about?
Where your clothes go?
Man voices his opinions. That's what I'm talking about. You see what I'm saying? The different outfits, the different moods. Stop being a big brother right now. I'm trying to prove a point. Okay.
It was just a question, not a come point.
You know, everybody knows I usually don't dress like this, but I got them in the closet when necessary. Don't get it twisted. But Truth, what do you have to say about what I said about what a gentleman told me when we had this conversation about that a man, you know, talks to his woman about how she dresses for two reasons: out of respect for her, him in the relationship, and for her safety. Like, honestly, I would ask him if he was okay with this top. Okay, because I know the type of man that I'm dealing with right now. You know, and if he told me he's not okay with this top, I won't wear it. Why won't I wear it? Because I want to keep my relationship. If I don't give a shit about my relationship, then I go do whatever the hell I want. But then you can't sit here and complain where all the good men are. Why am I single? You're not willing to you're not willing to play by rules. And
Well-
yeah, I'm going to use the word rules because let's say boundaries or standards. You know?
Gracie, you know the tricky part to what you're saying?
Yes.
The sad part is that women don't always have necessarily the headspace. I'm saying the modern, if you want to say. I don't even really like it. But whatever, modern women today, right? Their headspace is really on some, I should be able to dress like this, and I should be able to have my cake and eat it too. They think that they can like dress that way.
No.
You see, no, real talk. They think they can dress that way. And then if I was to say, I don't like that, then that's when the little D energy, you're insecure, and a man wouldn't. A real man wouldn't. That's when all of that comes out. Because I'm saying to her, like, nah, babe, like, come on now, like, what you wearing that to the bed? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then they think that, nah, if I don't accept that shit, then it's something wrong with me, because in their head, that shit is so normal. I just wanted to throw that piece in it. That's all. You on point, though. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
I hear you. Like I expressed to my dude, you're not allowed to wear gray sweatpants without my presence. That's unacceptable. And I expressed that, and he was like, okay. You know, by himself, he's not to wear gray sweatpants. I don't. No, we're not bringing that shenanigans over here. But if we're together,
Hey, hold on. My lady said the same thing. What is that bullshit, Grace? What is that?
I swear, you don't know, Smitty. You really
Nah.
don't-
I don't.
It
I don't.
means
Because
that
last time I checked, I bought it in the sporting goods, not from Playboy online. What is the problem with gray sweatpants with y'all? I hear that shit a lot. Okay, you know what then? No more half tops. No belly buttons in the summer. I don't care if it's 90 degrees.
I personally don't let any woman that I'm
Okay,
with
but-
or dating dictate to me what I'm wearing. She can make some suggestions.
It's not,
And the
it's
only
not
time I'm really
dictating,
inclined-
True.
I have 4 shades of gray sweatpants, and I'm not getting rid of nail one damn pair.
I'm just speaking for me. I think I do a decent job of,
And that's fine.
yeah. Well, I'm saying in a sense, to me, I'm open to hearing your suggestion if what you're saying is going to improve my overall aesthetic. But I think that it's very, me personally, I think that if your woman is trying to tell you not to wear something, unless it's for your safety or, you know, your advancement of sorts, because men are not perceived the same way in the world as women are. When we say don't wear stuff, we're trying to keep you from predators, which is other men. But it's not the same when a woman tells a man not to wear a certain set of something, because regardless of the fact, he's not going to get the same reception walking around by a multitude of women. That's just not the life most men live. So I think that it's kind of juvenile for a woman to say, well, I don't want you to wear that. Like, I don't, but that's me.
Dude, do you
But go
really
ahead, yeah.
think that we don't look at dick prints? Let's keep it real. I'm gonna answer Smitty's
But you
question.
do nothing.
The
But you do
reason
nothing
I
with it, though.
requested.
Hmm.
The
You guys
reason why
look.
I requested, you see, there's a difference.
Yeah, it's a delay.
No, there's some women that go for it, because we was at the grocery store together and we departed, and there was a woman all on top of him, and he had gray sweatpants on, and then when I walked off, she was like, I see what you got I see what you're working with. So no, True. There are women out there that will go aggressively. And I didn't tell him, I requested. I sent a letter to HR and I requested the fact that I would appreciate if he did not. See, a lot of times women don't know how to approach a man, because most of the time we can get everything we want out of a man. Is how you approach him and how you ask. If you are over here yelling, being combative, and being a bitch, you're not gonna get, a man's gonna shut down on you. But if you talk to him gracefully and ladylike, it's like taking candy from a baby. Babe, I because this happened after that incident. I said, I really think that the gray sweatpants, may cause some friction, and I don't think it's a good idea. He was like, okay, no problem. Wow. True. It's just trying to do preventive things for the relationship. Just like if he tells me he's not comfortable me wearing this top, I'll only wear it in the house around for him. Well, I won't wear it out. I mean, there's got to be reciprocation and compromise at some time.
And I'm not disagreeing.
The man is only going to lead, but
yeah, I'm gonna tell you why. And this is just me, because I live my life a certain way. There's just certain things that are not a mutual exchange. And so when I said juvenile, I'm not saying it's how you said it. I'm saying for a woman to have even brought it to my attention, I want to know why. And it has to be bigger than the fact that just some woman found me sexually attractive or whatever it may be, because the reality is most men don't get that type of reception regardless. So what I take from it is this is a woman who is trying to, in her own way, trying to show her level of protection for me in the relationship, where I believe we really don't need that type of protection. Generally speaking, most men don't need sexual protection from women. They just don't. And what I take it as is that you're trying to, not you, I'm saying in general, you're trying to arrive at the authoritative position of when I'm saying, hey, I don't like this, or hey, baby, don't wear this, because I'm literally looking out for your protection as well as mine. A woman flirting with your man means nothing. It doesn't move nothing. More than likely, he ain't gonna follow through with it. So to me, it's a bratty response. And I personally get bothered by that, because men get so little times to be celebrated. So what if the girl thinks that he packing? So the heck what? You guys always get that same representation, whether you're wearing a potato sack or a sexy dress. So if a man does just so happen to have it going on or whatever, why does that now have to be smutted out? Why? It's like, nope. No, it's like, to me, it's juvenile. To me. And that's why I shut that crap down. Don't dictate to me what I do, because I promise you. Huh? What happened?
To avoid conflict,
but what I'm saying is
avoid misunderstandings, to avoid the shenanigans.
What shenanigans? See, what I usually tell most of the women that I've been with,
conflict of women flirting with him, the temptation, the him, just if a woman can do that with me being in the store, because she saw us walk in together, okay? She saw us walk in together. And you still step to this man?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So just to avoid conflict, it's not that I don't trust him. I don't trust them hoochies.
But I'm taking it off of you, because I'm not trying to make it seem like this is a pushback. Personally, I've seen and experienced this from women, that there is a response to what they believe sometimes in a relationship. It's a mutual exchange of protection. If I'm a man standing and saying, this is the reason why I'm requesting you not to wear these things, it can be life or death. It could be preventing you from being SA'd. It could prevent me from having to put my hands, my paws, or my bullets to somebody. It is not the same when a man is being hit on by women in most cases. So if you have women who believe that now I get to, not saying that she can't make a request like you said, but to me, that's juvenile. It's like you're saying to avoid conflict. Every conversation I've ever had with a woman is always, my standard is always going to be higher than yours. If I am the leader that you say I am, my standard is higher than yours. So you can't really understand why I'm living my life, because when we met, I was already acting in a manner. I was already dressing a certain way, acting a certain way, moving throughout the world a certain way. So, sweetie, you can't tell me that this is improper because my standard is higher than yours. So who cares if a woman finds me attractive, because I'm more than likely going to be the gentleman that I am, and I'm going to handle it as the gentleman that I am. Thank you, ma'am, or whatever. Grab my lady, kiss her on the cheek, check out, and go the heck home. But what it is, it's emotional and it's nonsense. Because men don't waste their time telling women not to come out with your cheeks out because we just want to be controlling. We are literally trying to protect you and protect the relationship. That's different, in my opinion. But I digress. My mic is muted. You got me passionate about that one. I'm like, heck no.
True. I agree with you 1,000,000%. I co-sign that.
That is why.
Go ahead, Gracie. Go ahead. I think Gracie froze. Okay, nah. I'm gonna go ahead and hit that one. Look, right.
I'm here.
Oh, you back? Good. All right. Well, I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Gary was saying something that he 100%. Go ahead.
No, I just said that I co-sign with what True said. I totally agree with him. Totally agree. He definitely made some very solid, valid points, which I totally agree with. So yes, I co-sign with what he said.
I have a question, and it's only a question. There's no right or wrong with this, brother. True. It's just, bruh. It's just. So I get it. You say that your standard is always higher. Would you say most women who we would want to make wives of dignity and respect would go for such a deal? Do you think most women would sign on that dotted line if you, as a man who is a good leader, I believe generally most good leaders know how to pick good women who can be of good counsel. I don't believe that, like let's just take Dr. King and Coretta. He was with Coretta, not Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? Generally, men of a certain stature, a certain position, we usually pick a woman who will be what we call, I don't know, a help me. Key words, help me. You have to be sufficient for when this man needs some assistance. So only thing I'm saying is that I get totally where you're coming from. Yes, we do have to make sure that we hold that down. I speak thoroughly on your reputation, how you present yourself, everything. So I totally get it as far as being men. But one thing and I'm only saying this from looking at in my family multiple marriages all the way down to my mother and father to this very day. Like, my dad ain't never talked no tough shit ever. My dad is like such a chill, cool, hug a tree type of guy. But his wife respects him tremendously, and they're still together to this day after 44 some years, whatever. Right? So with these things taking place, I'm just saying, like, I do believe that we have to at least recognize and remember the balance to these things. Let's just remember the balance. That's all I'm saying. Because I do believe sometimes, us as men in these spaces, we can get a little too far wrapped up and like the whole I'm the man, I'm king of the earth. And it's like, we got to remember, we do that. I believe truly God gave us Eve, the woman, if you want to say, to truly give us some purpose. Like, so when we doing whatever we doing, our women, our children, we have those that we can build a whole city for, build a whole everything for, Most of the time, like I said before, when we do these things, we don't do it for ourselves. Most men go out there and bust their ass because it's someone that they are doing it. Even if you a single dude and you got a kid,
Well,
it's somebody in your life you doing that for. But I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
Let me address what you're asking.
I don't know what's going on with CT, but what's up, CT?
What's going on, CT? Let me address what you're asking. I'm not trying to give this macho bravado of like, you know, rah rah.
You guys see him?
You know, he popping in.
Y'all playing peekaboo. This like a game of cyber whack-a-mole and shit. I don't know what's going on, but go ahead.
But when I preluded my argument, I started by saying, I believe because I'm a man, my standard is higher, and all what you're saying is accurate. But if you listen to what Grace said, it's not that she made the request of the sweatpants.
Trying to get him in.
It's why she made the request. And that's what I really focused on. I said with me, the relationships I have, the women I've dated, the times that they've ever made. And I also said, I'm inclined to hear you if what you're trying to do is add to what I'm already doing. If it's progressive, if it's mature, then I'll hear you. But if you're coming to me, as a lot of times what I've seen is that a lot of women can only operate out of adolescent emotion. What she's saying comes across very juvenile to me. You're telling me not to wear a certain article of clothing because it's going to potentially get women to look at me a certain way. And I would argue, so what? If I'm already holding a standard that is high. So if this one woman at the grocery store or 7-Eleven finds me physically attractive, so what? That is the life we live being with women every single day. Because she just being a woman, men find her attractive. The uniform we're instructing is now to further protect yourself, the relationship, and me from having to bring bodily harm to this man that may just disrespect you. Women don't live that existence. Most
sweatpants haven't changed, true. So my whole thing is like, I ain't never heard that shit till recent. I am not about to not wear my sweatpants because 5 or 6 years ago, all of a sudden, y'all start talking about a print. I've been wearing sweatpants. Leave me alone about my goddamn sweatpants. When I'm chilling wearing sweatpants, I have jeans, dress shoes, all of that stuff. But yeah, if I'm wearing my sweats, leave me alone about that.
But you're saying the same thing I'm saying, just a year.
No, I'm with you. I'm saying, yeah, no, I concur. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out. Yeah. What's up, TT? Hopefully you here now.
What's going on, guys?
All right, gentlemen. Let me go ahead. Chaotic Truth, thank you for coming through. I was trying to get a hold of you all week. Your show on Sunday. I loved what you had to say. I loved the fact that you have the background in the educational system. And tonight we've been talking about your dress, on how you dress. And I've done like 5 different wardrobe changes to show people how you dress changes the mood and how it in my mouth. I came up here in my sports gear, but with a baseball cap. I came looking like I was ready to go to a PTA meeting, and I left the best for last, the sexy look. For Chaotic Truth, tell me something. Do people really address people according to how they dress?
Yes.
Are you there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, you can hear me.
Okay, so we'll wait till he's ready. But with that being said, look, I understand what you, Smitty and True Table are saying. You can hear him?
Yeah, I heard him talking. Yes. Okay. I can hear you, CT.
Here, I'll do this. Are you in StreamYard, Grace? Because here, let me just refresh, okay? Let me refresh.
Go ahead, Grace.
I don't see him. Damn. Are you serious right now? Yeah, please donate to the channel so I can upgrade my computer. You know, so I can soar in 2024.
Okay, what about now? Is it coming through to you, Grace?
Mitty, can you let him in for me?
I'm more than likely.
Don't laugh at me, True.
I'm not logged in. I'm on my
Don't
phone.
laugh at me. Up. Really,
happened?
shout out to Chaotic Truth. You know, he's somebody you love to hate and hate to love, because he be telling it like it is. He really be doing it, and he talk about the shit that people really don't want to. Left Sunday show was that he didn't see how these kids dress in the school system and how it allows them to act a certain way. It is important to have a dress code. If I had a nightclub or a restaurant, I'm not going to allow y'all to wear hats and jeans and sneakers, because you will act differently if you're dressed in a different way. You'll think twice before getting in a fight if you're going to mess up that $200-300 shirt, you know, versus you just wearing, you know, Air Force Ones where you could just get another pair tomorrow and call it a day. That the public school system need to go into uniforms. It would cause a lot less chaos with these kids stealing each other's clothes, these kids trying to impress each other, you know, stealing and robbing to try to look good. It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot does come with the ways how somebody dresses and handles themselves. Do you guys have anything else to add? I mean, I wasn't going to kill this to death. I could have got a lot more information, but I think a lot of it is self-explanatory. And all I'm really trying to do up here tonight is show you really, you know, I bet when Braxton came in and he saw me with a cigarette and a bonnet, he was like, that's not the Embrace the Grace I know. People are used to a certain expectation. And if I start slacking on that expectation, I'm not going to maintain my audience. And it shouldn't be that way. You always want to go up on a level. You always want to stay maintaining. But True, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, because I'm a person that I try to take preventive measures. I'm a person that I try to avoid conflict with my man, and it's just, I see how it is. I mean, these women are out here like vultures. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you're right. Maybe it was bratty.
Okay. All right. True. Go ahead and you're in the driver's seat, sir. So take it away.
No, that's why I was trying to get Grace to understand it wasn't her personally. It was what has been my experience with a multitude of women. And I have found that they don't understand just that difference. It's like, right. I'm open, like you said, if I chose you as my woman or somebody I'm pursuing, I do trust your perspective. But when your perspective is being delivered to me like you're 8 or 12 or 14, that to me, I would question, like, well, okay, girl, like, why do you say that? And if you have nothing to say but, well, I don't want them lusting at you. Right. Like, seriously? How old are we? That's like, what does that go?
Now, are you talking about this perspective as somebody who's already in the relationship, or are you talking about getting to know a person? Because I mean, me personally, a lot of this stuff. I mean, look, I've come across some ones that's tricked me, so I do get it. There is a mask, blah blah blah. But usually, I'm pretty damn good. I'm like a 90 percentile in that range, as far as you're not even gonna make it that far. Because I actually have, you know, at some point, not right off the butt, right off the rip, but at some point. Like have that discuss, like start slipping things in to get a feel for where's your head at when it comes to certain circumstances and situations in life. Well, I'll see how they respond, see what they say, and then from there, be around the person enough to just peep their actions and see how they move and how they interact with others. I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
No, I think that it's been both. It's been both in the relationship with her as well as the pre-relationship. But what happens is that even with what I believe to be a solid vetting process I have, the layers of her will unfold. And a lot of times, this is what I've learned in my experience. Most women put you in a category, so they see you through their own lens, but then they don't really understand the magnitude of man you may be. Like Gary, I've been in a lot of different rooms that a lot of people have never been in. I've been around people that a lot of people have never been around. So sometimes what you think she has shown you as her level of maturity, when it's put under pressure, it's going to come out. You may assume she may be able to handle this. I'm talking something like walking into a room and you're with her and you're taking her with you, shaking hands, introducing her, moving. At that end of that night, she may say something like, well, I kind of felt like you weren't giving me the attention that I'm accustomed to. And you're looking at her like, you do understand where we were and why we were here. What I find is that it's just her lack of exposure. It's just her lack of development. That's what I've seen.
Let me just chime in quick, very, very quick on this truth. So you reminded me of an episode of Power with Ghost, Angie, and Tasha, and this rich club owner wanted to buy Truth. Now Ghost and Angie, they were having this
Gracie, we got to get it together. What is going on tonight?
Can you hear me?
Is Gracie frozen?
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just no, Gary, keep on talking, I guess. Yes, I can hear you, Gracie. Yep. I can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, Gary.
All right. So what I was saying is that what True was saying reminded me of an episode of Power with Ghost, Angie, and Tasha. And the episode particularly is this rich club owner wanted to buy Truth. So Angie, who Ghost has this relationship with, she's a bit more refined, if you will, classy. Tasha, who was his wife, is that ghetto chick that he felt loyal to and she had his kids. But when they go to the meeting, right, when the rich guy invites Ghost over to his house to have dinner, Tasha doesn't really know how to act. You follow me? So she kind of felt out of place. Whereas if he would have took Angie, shit would have went smooth. So that's all I wanted to say, because when Truth was given his examples, that's what I thought about. Because there's some women that see, Truth, what you said there is really why my standards is very high, because I'm in those rooms. So if I'm with a woman, or the woman that's my lady, she has to be able to be in those rooms and know how to conduct those type of conversations with the other women, like the wives and stuff like that, and not say something stupid, or not say something that's gonna make me look bad, or not feel like she's out of place. So I just wanted to say that point there.
I mean, we can agree to disagree, okay? But to me, I'm doing it in a manner to avoid conflict and shenanigans, because I don't like to argue. I don't want to have to catch a charge. And not because of him, but women are disrespectful. Women don't care. They're aggressive. Again, like I told you, she saw us walking in together, and you still gonna try? Nah, come on. I was a lady about it. I didn't go off. I didn't do anything because he handled it thing-like. You know what I'm saying? But to not be able to suggest things, to not be able to advise my man, not to be able to talk about situation, you're making it very dictatorship-like, True. And that to me feels uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable with that. You have to allow me to navigate. I've been checked before. I've been super checked. And I'm okay with being checked and super checked. It's how you approach me and check me. You know what I'm saying?
But that's why
me and you always get into it, and it's
but that's why I said. That's why I said the way I said it. It's not a dictatorship. It's knowing who you're with. The reason why I speak the way I speak is because a lot of women, overwhelmingly, are just immature. Overwhelmingly, I don't care if they're educated or not. And what happens is that they think their job is to come in here and help me be better. Yes, to a degree. But if your standard that you're giving me, if you're telling me, if I'm a bodybuilder, for example, and I'm in shape and you're not, how are you going to educate me on being in shape? We're on different levels. A lot of times that's what it is. So we may share in financial position or her level of success or whatever, but there's levels to it. I'm a man. I've lived as a man my entire life. You can't tell me how it is interacting with women, even if they do come at me in a flirtatious way. I am supposed to be showing you what type of man I am is how I handle things. That's why I'm saying, to me, that's a juvenile representation. Because why is my woman concerned about something like a sexual response if it's really not sex? If the woman is flirting, okay, that's small. To me, that would bother me. Like, where's your mind at? Seriously? Because the women I tend to try to date are bothered by things that are larger. That to me is small. That would just bother me personally. But
has anybody thought of the fact that maybe, just maybe, this is coming from a group of people that are insecure? It could come from that. Maybe these are people. Well, I won't even use the word insecure, because that sounds like a shot fired, right? I'll just say maybe these are people who have had a lot of relationships in their past. Some way, somehow, the dude wound up, it just didn't go right. So now it's like anything all the way down to like, you know what, bump that. Nah, them sweatpants, you got to take them off. That could be a factor too. But I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
That's a fair point, Smitty. Fair point.
Well, to defend myself, it didn't come from that. Not the insecurity or anything. I just don't want the drama. I want to be able. I want to know that if he goes out, he's not getting bombarded or, like you said, lusted. Because I've seen women do it and they'll be like, yo, look over there. I'm not even thinking about looking, but they're like, yo, look over there, look over there. I'm like, damn, what are we doing? Dick watching tonight? I mean, did we not come to the mall to go shopping? You over here too busy. So if women are doing that, and then my dude, you know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, it's just like you're not supposed to tell a woman just how good your is in it.
Okay, my bad.
Because curiosity will kill the cat and satisfaction will bring it back.
My bad, Gracie. Okay, hashtag them other hoes. Gracie don't count. Bam.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We weren't talking about Grace. And again, this is not about you individually, Grace. It just sparked something. It's kind of like a man having it's kind of like a man having a bad woman, right? Bad. She tough. And he's saying, okay, now that you're with me, I need to cover you. Like, don't show your face. Don't show your toes. No, because there's a certain reception that people that you pick do get. And what I'm saying, from being a man, we get very little of celebration just being men. It's so much that it takes to get any type of positive reinforcement, even if it's on the flirtatious side. I'm not saying welcome trouble. I'm saying that the way I take it is, why are you trying to for lack of a better term, they used to say it on Friends, why are you trying to take my thunder? Like, why do you feel that you need to do that? If I am moving throughout the world in a way that is already at a high standard, I'm not worried about them women. I'm with you. I picked you. So it's not enough that I picked you. It's not enough that I'm a good man. It's not enough that I provide and protect. Now you want to try to take anything that somehow makes you feel that much uncomfortable or however much uncomfortable. To me, that's like a bratty response. Because I, being in a relationship with a beautiful woman, which I tend to be with, there are things that I have to be subjected to, or I choose to be subjected to. I'm not tripping and saying, don't curl your hair like that, because dudes is gonna think this. Don't wear lip gloss, because they're gonna think sexual stuff. That to me is immature, that's small. If I picked her, I'm confident enough to know, okay, I picked her because of the way she is in character. So if she walk out the house with lip gloss on, so what? If she's walking out and putting herself in harm's way, wearing something that is just too risque, one, I probably wouldn't date her anyway. We wouldn't have got that far. But that's what I mean by small. Lip gloss. I know dudes who be like, my girl can't wear no lip gloss. I can't have no dudes thinking about her in this manner. Really, bro? That tells me that somewhere in your development, you're lacking. Because I would never even think like that's small. But I digress.
Hey, True. I always say on my show, the only way to learn about men is from men. And I'm never too old to learn. So you know what? Maybe I have to go back to the drawing table. Maybe I am acting immature about this, but I'm trying to protect that thing and make sure that it stays mine. You know what I'm saying? Because like my dad used to say, it's easy to get the person, but can you keep them? And I'm trying to do everything I can to keep them. And if that means you can only wear your sweatpants with me around, I'm good with that. But please don't wear it when I'm not around. I just don't. I don't want to catch a charge. I really don't. I'm too old to get locked up. I don't need my honey bun and deodorant. Attic, are you still there? I still haven't been able to speak to you. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I can't. Is he talking? Well, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. So what do you think about everything that we've been speaking about? And you missed the wardrobe changes because I was trying to prove it. But because you've been around it, you've seen it, you spoke so eloquently about it on your Sunday show. What do you, I need you to give that message that you gave on Sunday to my audience. Ready, mute.
So you were talking about, can you hear me now, Grace?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, so on Sunday's show, I was speaking about the situation with the ski mask, correct?
Mm-hmm. With the ski masks and the importance of what people wear and how they conduct themselves and what the perception.
Yeah, so clothing is, in my opinion, probably one of the greatest forms of technology ever, right? When I don't know what any of you guys believe in, but I certainly believe that at one point our ancient ancestors were nothing more than, primitive hunter-gatherers living in the savannas of Africa or in some hot climate. So they didn't need clothes because obviously with the amount of physical exertion that they needed on a daily basis in terms of hunting for food, etc., clothing was not required. So with industrialization, cities being built, Obviously, infrastructure being built, you need clothing to build all of that. So clothing is a form of adaptability to a certain circumstance. So obviously, if you take it to our modern times, for example, sweatpants are for sports, period. Tennis shoes are for sports, period. Wearing a t-shirt, in my opinion, I could be, this is just my opinion. Wearing a t-shirt is for private leisure, meaning that you are in your home, it's your immediate family, etc., who are seeing you in a leisurely situation. But the dominant society, meaning when you go outside, I believe should never see you in that position. They should never see you lacking. And what I mean is, the t-shirt, in my opinion, represents lacking in public. It represents a level of you're not prepared for business. You're not prepared for anyone to take you seriously. And that's understandable, because generally speaking, who really wears t-shirts? Who really wears leisure clothes when they are not engaged in any physical activity like sports? Children do. So it's easy to wear tennis shoes. It's easy to wear a V-neck shirt. It's easy to wear jeans. It's easy to wear these clothing items. And it's easy to fall into a state of being lackadaisical. Now, when I was talking about the suit is very rigid. It's very rugged. You're not going to, generally speaking, be in a lackadaisical mode when you're wearing slacks or you're wearing a suit jacket. Just like the example I gave last week when I said that, hey, look, when I was in high school and in college, hey, when I just wanted to flop around and, bullshit in class, I would wear t-shirts and you would see like the girls, they're still wearing those dirty, sweatpants from last night because they were being lazy. We were being lazy college kids, high school kids. But when I wanted to take things seriously, when I really wanted to hone in on my studies, it was something about putting on some slacks. It was something about preparing myself. And I believe there's some psychological, and I'm pretty sure there's academic journals that study this, but there is some sort of psychology behind wearing slacks in a suit jacket. Because even when I was wearing it in college, I studied better. I was focused better, or I focused better. I communicated better with people, and people respected me differently, or people held me in a higher manner. See, the thing about the suit or the suit jacket or the long sleeve dress for a female is that you are in a very, I use the example of the hunter-gatherer society, which was 50,000 years ago. And you wore what the society, what the society was about, the paradigm. Well, we live in a capitalistic society right now, super capitalistic society. And the evidence of dress or attire, in my opinion, should be measured by the kings and queens of our society. Who are the kings and queens? Well, the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, the CEOs of banks, the CEOs of major industry like steel and oil, etc. And how do they dress? How do the board of directors dress? How do not even the C-suite executives, but other leaders in the industry? People may say, well, what about Mark Zuckerberg? Man, Mark Zuckerberg created his own company, and that's one person. But I bet you if you go to Facebook right now and go to the leadership board, you go to the C-suites, you go to the board of directors, everybody has suits. Everybody has proper attire on, because that is the language of business. That is the language of our society, and Yeah, a person like Mark Cuban who owns everything, he could wear some slacks. Elon Musk could wear some. I mean, Elon Musk could wear some sweatpants, but I bet you everybody under him is wearing suits and ties or a suit jacket with a, you can even wear a V-neck with a suit jacket and some slacks, because that is the language of respectability. That is the language of modesty. That is the language of I'm prepared to do business. And going back to last week about the ski mask, hey, you walk up into a store with a ski mask, I'm going to automatically assume you're here to rob the place. Because normal people don't wear ski masks outside of a ski range or whatever.
Well, it's COVID, CT. That's why they do it. It's COVID.
Right, and that was we're gonna get into that, and that's so funny. But and I'm glad, Speedy, you said that too, because that's really interesting, right? But the thing of the matter is that when you think of global business on a global scale, Grace, the language of business in terms of your physical appearance is the suit jacket and the slacks. Is it ironic that in China they're not? All you got to do is go to China, go to the CCP, look at everybody in leadership positions. They're wearing suits and ties. They're not wearing ancient Chinese traditional garments. Now, it is interesting. Xi Jinping, he did their equivalent of a State of the Union last year, and it was like 2,000. So their equivalent of Congress, it's like 2,000 of them. It's like 2,000 people, and I watched, maybe an hour of it. You did find 4 or 5 of the women who were wearing very traditional ancient Chinese garbs, but I can only assume they represent probably the rural of the most rural areas in China. But other than that, the people from the big cities, the people who represent these big cities in China, they're wearing suits and ties, period. Just like in Jamaica, right, Grace? I had an argument with a whole bunch of ladies a few months ago about hair. I said, it's funny that people get mad about, oh, well, how come I can't wear my hair a certain way? Because that's not the language of business. And if it is, show me any Jamaican woman who's a senator or House of Representative over there with locks. Show me, how come Michelle Obama wasn't wearing her natural hair in these locks? Because that is not the language of business. And to a degree, I would even argue it's unfortunate. However, the Western culture, the Western civilization won, and you have to act as if you're the Queen of England or the King of England now. Act as if now. And so everybody is on board with this whole Western idea of success. And the idea of success is you look like the kings and queens of that society. You will never see a U.S. president wearing slacks. He may wear it in the White House in his bedroom, but even as senile and old as Joe Biden is, he's never going to be in a position where you're going to see him wearing slacks or a t-shirt. You're never going to see it. You're never going to see anybody in the Western Hemisphere, prime ministers, slacking. You're just not going to see it. Yeah, you may get one-offs like John Fetterman. He comes into the Senate Hall wearing shorts, but they even banned that. I did a show about it. They banned him from. They made some sort of it's not a law, but some sort of House rule or Senate rule that senators have to come in looking like a damn senator. You can't come in there looking like you just got done playing a pickup basketball game, because that's not the set and setting for it. So clothing is set and setting, just like, and I'm going to land the plane here, just like with women. I tell women constantly, women that I know, women online, you should not walk out the house unless you're wearing I gotta say it, a dress down to your ankles. You should not walk out the house with cleavage showing. You should not. I'm really adamant about that. You should. I really am, because you're giving off, in my opinion, I am a whore. You may not be a whore, but that's what it gives off. When I could see, no man should see your cleavage other than your husband. And don't get me wrong, everybody on this panel has gotten their fair share amount of coochie. That should be for the house. That should not be for the outside. And I'm gonna tell you something else. It's also for protection, because I'm a little guy, Grace, so I tend to practice protectionism before I leave the house. So listen, if I'm out in public and let's say I'm with a girl and she got her ass showing and her cleavage showing, I'm 5 foot something, 100-something pounds. I'm not about to be like, why are you looking at my girl, man? I'm never gonna do that, because I'm not gonna put myself in a position to do that, because I already know that's how most men think. Now, if she's dressed modestly and like a conservative woman, and if a man says something, now you've disrespected me, because this is on a higher level of disrespect, because now you are undermining a system and systems that have worked for thousands of years. So now you're disrespecting an entire system now. But hey, if she's walking out the house looking like a prostitute, hey, I mean, how much protection can I give her now at this point? Or any woman at that point? Sister, cousin, that's a female. Hey, you walked out the house with a skirt on. Shit, if a dude says something to you, that's on you. But if you walked out the house and you're wearing a long sleeve dress to your ankles, you have some sort of head covering, that's the only time that I say, hey, man, if you're a dude and you're a midget, you should protect the woman. But other than that, it's fair game if you ask me. But I digress. Go ahead.
Wait for it. You on mute, Grace. You on mute.
Okay.
There you go.
You're absolutely right. I mean, I feel that a lot of prevention goes a long way. So the thing is that more men need to have the conversation with women. Now, I understand if you met her at the club and she had her hoochie mama stuff on, but it comes a time where if you've become in a serious relationship with her and you no longer feel comfortable because that's your woman now, a man should feel comfortable in a setting to say, hey, I don't think you should wear that. I suggest that you wear something, because at the end of the day, like you said, Chaotic, and most of the men on the panel, it's about protection. It's not about being controlling. But a lot of women misconstrue it as being controlling, and it's not. And guys, I'm going to tell you a little story. I don't know if you have heard it before, and it was the first time that a man ever told me that I had to change what I had wearing. I had met this gentleman, and we were talking for about 3 weeks, and we were finally going to meet in person. And I said, and I coach basketball. I've been coaching for 18, 19 years. So I invited him to one of my games. On my break, I went to Sporting Dick's stores, got me a fresh Adidas outfit. I mean, from the head to the toe. I was ready to coach. I always get everything brand new at the beginning of every season. Long story short, when I came out dressed in my little Adidas outfit, I thought I was doing it. I look cute as hell. He was like, oh, no, I'm not going nowhere with you dressed like that. I'm like, what? What's wrong? He was like, oh, no, as fine as you are, you're not going dressed nowhere like me. An excuse for the wording, but I'm just telling a story. You're not going nowhere dressed like a dyke next to me. I can't tell who the kids are and who the coach is. You're only 5 feet. And this was mind-boggling to me. I have never had a man tell me to go change. He was like, look, you can wear what you want, but you just can't wear it with me. So you see, he gave me the option and he gave me the choice. And I'm like, you know what? It was the first guy I ever dated with a beard. And I had to get on that. So I submitted. I was submissive. I did what he asked. I was in there because I'm the type of coach that I pace up and down. I've been down when I call a timeout. I'm all in the game. I can't wear no heels and no blazer. And, it's hot in that gym. But I put something together. And the fact remains is that he was right. I was treated so much differently with so much more respect from the refs, the coach, the other students. it does make a difference. It does make a representation of who you are as a person. And there was a lot of good girls out there, but if you hang out with girls that dress like hoes, you're going to be associated with them. My dad used to always tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. You may not be a hoe, but if you're hanging around girls that dress like hoes, you're going to be associated with them. There's no ands, bits about it. And one last thing I want to say that I really hate about the gentlemen, because I'm not just going to get into my women. Why is it that y'all, when you see a beautiful woman dressed in heels and a dress, and you're in a suit, but you wear Jordans? Where they do that at? I'm old school. You're supposed to wear shoes when you wear a suit, not sneakers. You know, because you throw off the
I ain't going, Gracie. I hate that. I hate that shit. I'm not even going to lie. I can't stand that. That is like, that's not the look.
Yo,
it's like, make your mind up, bro. Make your mind up. Which way we going today?
It's like when I look at a man and he's well dressed, I look at him from head to toe. I even look if the belt is aligned with the buttons on his shirt, to the belt, to the zipper, everything. And that look takes me less than 3 seconds. But when I stop and see the shoes, and you're wearing Jordans, and you're wearing a nice suit, why do y'all do that? Maybe I'm neat green, I'm just naive or old, but where did y'all get this from? And tapered pants for suits? Please explain it to me. I'm gonna be 50 next year, and maybe I'm just old and I'm not hip. But where did y'all find that was okay? Anybody?
You don't look a day past 25, Gracie.
Stop. Flattery will get you everywhere, Smitty. but seriously, where I saw, where it really irked me? I saw Gabriella Union in a beautiful dress with stilettos, and here you got Dwayne Wade in a suit with Jordans on. That's irksome. That irked me. It really did, and it's not cool. I got to get on my men too, because with the pants hanging, all the extravagant jewelry, it's like you're seeking attention. You want women to know that you have money, but then you complain that women only want you for your money. The broke look rich, and the rich look broke.
Yeah, you're speaking to a particular demographic. So, I mean, you don't see that across spectrum. You only see that in our community. No, you're right. you don't see that anywhere else.
But Gracie has a point though. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. No, I was just gonna say real quick. Gracie has a point though, True, because you're right. I agree. That is the minority. That is a small but very extremely boisterous and loud minority. And unfortunately, this small ass loud minority somehow or another made its way to the forefront as the mascots for our community. Or as I like to say, those who share my skin tone and features. So, I mean, she's kind of on to something in that sense. I get where you're coming from on that, but when she was saying that, the only thing that was going through my mind was the fact of, a lot of times, all it takes is like a couple knuckleheads to have a whole shopping center change rules and up security. So it's like, we just got to be careful with that. But yeah, I digress. My mic is muted. Rock out.
It's gonna sound regurgitated, but a lot of that is coming from, if you particularly our community, it's the lack of fathers, it's the upbringing, because again, I said it earlier, you reflect what your environment is, and if I'm not mistaken, Dwayne Wade was raised in a single parent home. Obviously, he's ascended. He's successful and all those things, but his upbringing is upbringing, and we as our community glorify rebellion. And rebellion doesn't have to be throwing chairs through windows. Rebellion is even challenging the status quo of representation. Like saying a suit, that's the same thing as wearing a suit with like sandals. It's like, it doesn't go. Like, why are you doing it? But our community, that's just, it gives us, I guess it's like, I'm not gonna fully immerse into what is expected of me at this level. I'm gonna still challenge it. So this is how I'm challenging it. That's why you see it. And that's because not enough men saying, hey, that's not cool, bro. At the same time with the jewelry and all that stuff, a lot of guys do that. That had nothing to do with men. Men do that because women respond to it. You know, I think it's clown-like behavior, but a lot of guys get the response from women. Like, women are giving these guys ass, they're giving them dates, they get the reception. So they're like, you can't tell me this don't work, bro. Like, even though it's clown behavior, but I digress.
No, you're absolutely right. When I had my car rental business, I specifically targeted specific cars that I know would be rented constantly because it was excuse my language, it was a pussy magnet. I got 3 2020 Dodge Challengers, and I made the right decisions. Those vehicles never stopped getting rented because I was on South Beach, Miami, and every dude, I had one guy just rented out for 3 months straight. You know, he made it into his car. He tinted the windows for me. He made it into it. I'm like, you might as well just buy a car. He was like, no, I don't want nothing in my name. I don't want. So I get it. I specifically bought a vehicle, an audience that would bring me residual income. Those 3 cars was paying for my car payment that I was driving. You know, by the way, that's what happens when you have good credit. So I will be having a show on the importance of good credit and how you can turn good credit into residual income. But Chaotic, I wanted to ask you a question because you are in an educational system. Do you think that schools all across the board should just have uniforms? Because I went to a Catholic school, and I went to public school in New York from K through 9, and then I went to Catholic school, and I loved the fact that I had to wear a uniform.
Okay, so we talked about this last week, and I believe that the word uniform is very general because at one school I taught at, the uniforms were khakis, tennis shoes, and a polo. That's what the kids had to wear. The kids were bad. I mean, they were super bad. The uniform may or may not change the child's behavior or the culture of the school. Some schools have uniforms, the school's out of control. Some schools don't. I went to high school, we didn't have uniforms. I remember we were Tommied out in the late 90s, and we were good kids. I mean, we were really good kids. What I really believe is across the board, forcing the parents to purchase slacks, a jacket, and a few V-neck shirts or t-shirts for the boys, obviously with the girls' dresses. And the reason why I say force the parents to do it is because the parents will have to focus on supplying the items for the kids and making sure that the kids aren't damaging the items. That means that the parents are going to say, don't go to school with these slacks on and this jacket on, and you tussling and playing around and it is destroyed because I have to pay for it. See, a lot of times these kids go to school with the same little dirty little clothes on, and they play around and horseplay, but a parent is going to think twice about sending their kids to school and they're wearing like a little jacket and some slacks, and now they got to pay for it every time they get damaged. So you're going to have more parent involvement because of the clothing. But hell, if you're just wearing a little polo, little cheap polo, little cheap khakis, no parent care if that gets destroyed. But if you really have to focus on some attire, make slacks and a jacket, make that a national uniform. But every school district is different. But that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And make the girls wear dresses.
What's the length of the dress for the girls?
You would enforce a uniform?
Down to the ankles, period.
No.
And truth be told, I really wish they would have did that when I was in high school.
Our skirt.
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was in high school, I'm gonna tell you something. When I was in high school, this is the late 90s. Girls had, they came to school with, sometimes booty shorts on. And I would be in class hard as a rock sometimes. I couldn't even focus sometimes, like most boys. I'm 15, 16. And it took away from, I was always a good student, but it's too much distractions. You shouldn't be distracted I get it. I get it, man. Kids have to go through some sort of development phase, especially boys with getting coochie. But if you're in school, you need to focus on the education. And a lot of what I see with lackadaisical attire is that it's too much distraction for the developing 15, 16-year-old mind. But it was real different when I was in school, because that was one of our main goals, was to procure coochie. These kids now are kind of like on the the LGBT side, so they're not really concerned about that like we were, when we were. But yeah.
CT, if you had your way, would you have a hair code as well? Like in corporate America, you can't have certain hairstyles. Would you also enforce that?
I wouldn't enforce it. I would highly recommend that young Black girls straighten their hair or let their hair grow. Because, and I'm going to tell you something, because listen, don't get me wrong. There are some hairstyles, African hairstyles, that are just insanely beautiful. But remember what I said. If you're going to wear slacks, wear that in the house if you're going to wear lingerie, some of the biggest consumers of lingerie, and believe it or not, and Smitty, you might know this, are Arab women.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know this, but they're Arab women. They wear it in the home for their man.
Yes, they do.
And what I'm saying is that the same thing with the hair. Listen, if you want to look like, Kunta Kinte, do it in your house. But don't expect to go to law school, get out of law school, and get hired by the top 5 or 10 law firms looking like Harriet Tubman. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to look like the kings and queens of society. And unfortunately, it happens to be a Western look. It's not necessarily even a white look. It's just a Western look. White women can get braids, but you would never see a white guy with a mullet who's a C-suite executive, because there are even white hairstyles that are unacceptable. So the thing is that we have determined in the West, or Western civilization, that straight hair for women is the acceptable hairstyle, and it just is. And a lot of times it looks better, especially when they get it done. I mean, let's be honest. Scarlett Johansson looks way better than Queen Latifah. Well, Queen Latifah straightens her hair. I don't know who's a Black girl.
Don't start that shit, CT. Don't do it, bro.
Sit back and think about it. When a white woman gets her hair, I'm talking about when a white woman really gets her hair done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talk about an angel on earth, and then when you see a Black chick with some locks looking like Erykah Badu, it's like, okay, that's cool, but we're not in Africa. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's a set and setting for it. We live in the Western Hemisphere. Listen, we're all the braids you want if you live in mommy Africa, but even in Africa, if you go to yeah, go ahead, Grace.
That's going to be considered racist on your part, and not being a sellout and all. I'm hearing you.
It don't count with CT. He's different, Grace. It don't count with him.
Give you hell. I know. That's why I follow him. He's someone you love to hate it and hate to love. I get it. I mean, but they're going to be saying to you, well, you should embrace your blackness.
Yeah, embrace it in Africa.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, embrace it in Africa. There's 50. I'm sorry to cut you off, True, but there's 56 African countries. I think out of the 56, 48 are Black African nation states. There are Black islands. You got Jamaica. You got Turks and Caicos. You got the Cayman Islands. You have all these Black islands. You got Brazil, that is mostly Black. You have Guyana, which is in South America. That's a Black country. If you want to embrace your Blackness, go there. Embrace your Blackness there. Wear all that Erykah Badu braids and Bantu twist all you want. But if you want to get into the professional world, you want to be a lawyer, and not just some defense lawyer, some criminal defense lawyer for the city. I'm talking about a lawyer who's making bank at one of these top law firms. You can't come up in there looking like Sojourner Truth. I'm sorry, you just can't do it. You can't do it. Go ahead.
It's such a contradiction, though. That's
who dresses like people from Sojourner Truth Day anyway?
I'm talking about her hair. Would you say?
Okay, all right.
It's such a contradiction. I think Smitty touched on it earlier and said we got such an identity crisis. The problem I have when we have our community, especially the women, clamoring about we should be able to rock the hairstyles we want, X, Y, Z. Most of the promotion of what they're talking about, if it is in a natural state, that's cool, whichever. But they overly are wearing European style, lengthening kits, colors that don't naturally belong to their biology as a whole. It's a contradiction. And then you want to take the benefits of the West that are on the side of, upward mobility, upper echelons. Like, I don't see these same people trying to represent their Blackness and not so much doing things, rocking fashion that doesn't belong to Africa. Chanel is a French house. Louis is a French house. These brands that don't belong to Mother Africa.
Yeah.
A lot of these people they keep going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like, pick a lane,
Yeah. Yeah, what it is true is, and I talk about this, and this, Black people particularly can get away with this. We can get away, not we, because I identify as white now, but Black people can get away with being contradictory and dare somebody to say something about it, because then you could label them racist, and a lot of Blacks will try to fight you. Let a white person say, well, I just don't get it. If it's so racist here, why don't you just move to Africa? The white guy might get punched in his mouth. So I speak for the whites, and I speak for the Blacks. And what I keep saying is, and I keep saying it over and over again, if all you have to do is look at the kings and queens of society, look at the higher order human beings, look at Xi Jinping. He's the president of China. How come he's not wearing traditional Chinese garb? How come he doesn't have the long ponytail like his ancestors did? It's because China now really is a westernized state. That's it. It's a Western state. And truth be told, if it was not a Western state, it would still be impoverished like it was 100, 200 years ago. Japan, another state, another country. Up until the 1800s, Japan was a feudalistic society. But how come you don't see Japanese women wearing kimonos? And how come you don't see the men? Because they understand, listen, that's the past. Now, if they want to get their rocks off in some fantasy, you might see some Japanese woman dressing up like that in the red light district there. But other than that, you're gonna see what has happened is that the globe has become Western. Now, I will admit, Indian people that I see in America, they still will rock their traditional garb out in public, but a lot of Indians don't rely on the institutions here. A lot of these people, they own their own, I don't know where you guys, I don't know if you ever
reservations.
I'm talking about East Indians, Smitty.
I don't know about them niggas. Okay, my bad. Wrong one.
So where I'm at in Northeast Ohio, there's a food chain called Mr. Hero. And Mr. Hero, it's like cheesesteak, etc. The Indians own a lot of those franchises. They are franchises.
Facts.
So they don't have to worry about looking a certain way or dressing a certain way because they typically own their own stuff. They're not looking. Now, don't get me wrong. When they get into corporate America, like for example, my guy that is the CEO of Google, he's Indian. He's gonna wear a suit and tie. He's not gonna wear traditional Indian garb because he knows he's gonna look absolutely crazy if he's wearing that. Your most of your Indian doctors, hell no, they're not gonna wear that traditional Indian stuff. But when they get home, when they go to their events, they're rocking all that stuff out. They're rocking it out. But they're not gonna. But you're never gonna see Indian people say, "Oh, how come I can't get a job with my traditional garb on?" They're not gonna do that. They're not. And that's the beauty of understanding. I come from a good culture, but the dominant culture here in America is Western civilization. And I'm going to look like the king and queen. Sorry. Go ahead.
Why do they have that and we don't, in your view, CT?
Because I got to say it. I said it last week, man. Black people are very selfish. And I got to call it out. We don't think about other people's plights. We don't think about other people's atrocities. We don't think about the fact that 3 million Cambodians were killed in the 70s. We don't think in a genocide. We don't think about other people. We don't think about the fact that Kim Kardashian comes from an ethnic group of people who literally were exterminated. The Armenians were exterminated. It was 1 million Armenians exterminated in 1910 or something. But see, the thing is that we don't think about other people's plight because we constantly want people to. It's like, look at me, look at what happened to me, look at me, look at me. It's this constant look at me situation.
Well, CT, wouldn't you say that most of us, the reason why, because we have our own plight that maybe isn't even resolved to this day still. So before I start thinking about the Armenians who damn sure ain't thinking about our black asses.
They sure are.
All right. I mean, hey, look, you may know something I don't know. You're more geographically inclined than I am, so I won't go there with you. But I'm just saying, from what I know, majority of the world, not Africans, not Jamaicans or anything else, specifically the African American male, it's probably the most hated created species on planet Earth overall.
That's your opinion. I don't agree with that, but that's your opinion.
All right. I mean, I'm just saying that because you know me, CT. I'm not all with the super like world pressed and big bad boogeyman white man, but there are certain factors I do look at and I have experienced myself and seen. Hey,
look, man, you're entitled to your opinion. You could be right, but all we got to do is just look at metrics. In the Western Hemisphere, black men are curb stomping black men in Africa, South America, etc. Black men.
I agree.
Yeah,
but image, CT.
The image. Okay, well, last time I checked, the
image. We are not cool. I mean, we're not that well. A lot of other cultures and races don't want their daughters to bring us home.
Well, how come you don't think that the same? Oh, but see, hold on for a second. You as a black man, and not just specifically you, but black men should think the same thing about other people. Why is the black man so damn nice? Maybe the black man should say, "Don't bring no white boy to my house. Don't bring an Asian boy to my house. Don't bring." Why can't you?
Would that not be racist, or was that preserving the culture?
Why is it so bad that another group of male doesn't want his daughter to get her back pounded out by some black? I would think the same. If I had a daughter, I'm not gonna lie to you. She could date whoever she wants, but I'm gonna feel a certain way if a white boy is pounding her back out, or a Hispanic boy, or an Asian. I'm gonna feel a certain way. I am. Call it an insecurity or not, but I would prefer if I had a daughter, she's with particularly a dark-skinned black man. Hopefully he's tall, so that there could be some tall people in the family. But other than that, I can't blame a white guy for telling his daughter, "Hey, honey, maybe you shouldn't date Tyrone." I can't blame him for that. I wish white men would be upfront with it instead of being a little sneaky behind the
So
door.
you're not for interracial relationships?
I
Is what
am
you're saying?
for
We should all
human-
tribe
I am
apart.
for human beings. I am for the posterity of human beings. Now, I'm
Okay.
definitely aware of these idiotic racial categories that we give each other, but what I'm saying is that I can't sit here and get mad at a white guy or a Hispanic guy or Arab guy for telling him don't bring home no black. I can't get mad at him because I feel like black people need to practice the same type of racism that these people practice.
Well, CT, you know the reason why that usually happen is because, unfortunately, because of, I'm gonna say it, and the subconscious low self-esteem that overall we may have. What it is that we look at it like you get a white girl or if our sisters get a white boy, that's like an upgrade. Like, oh damn, how'd you get that? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, don't no other culture look at that as a flex when they bring us home.
But
why is that though?
How do you know that, Smitty? How do you know? How do you know that there is not a white family that, like, for example, my brother is married to a white woman, and his white family they love him. I'm gonna say this damn name. They love him.
I mean, look. I know some white folks that love me too. I get it, CT. But what I'm saying is that there are a lot of key aspects that you're missing with this. Now, if you just talking about, okay, they love him, okay, cool. Now let me ask you this: how much of us does he bring over there and they love him, as opposed to, is he totally kind of throwing a lot of that away to be able to fit in? Thus, he is not really being.
To be honest with you, my brother has embraced Western.
And respect to your brother. No,
you good. You good. My brother has embraced Western civilization, and that's why they love him. And I feel like the problem is that it's just like with the clothing. I gotta say this because of observation. Black men, particularly, not all black men, but a lot of black men are very defiant with Western civilization. You see 40 and 50-year-old black men. I'll wear whatever the fuck I want to wear. I'll do whatever the fuck I want to do. No, you can't do whatever the F you want to do. We live in a society. If you want to do whatever the F you want to do, go live in some rural part of sub-Saharan Africa or go live in the Sahara Desert. Do all that. Do what the fuck you want to do over there. But here we have a trust society. And the thing of the matter is that, hey, if I'm a guy who owns a corner store or a gas station, I would hope that a black guy, a white guy, a Hispanic guy will walk in here looking like he's gonna do business with me. I don't want some black kid walking in here with a ski mask on, because now I'm afraid he's doing something that is counterculture. I'm afraid now. I got a stereotype. So I feel like a lot of black men, we don't embrace the West. We just don't. But I do. I love the Western Hemisphere. I love living around white folk. I love living in white countries, and I love this society. Go ahead.
I think
I love white people. Shit, I love that.
To speak to what you said, Smitty, a lot of what CT is saying is accurate, because we have a disconnect. Our people, generally speaking, do not want to elevate. They don't want to expand upon, because I can tell you with my experience, what I've seen is brothers are not hated across the globe. I've been all over the world. We're very much embraced, and there's an intrigue to where other cultures actually would love to be close to us. What keeps them away from us is our degeneracy, because they know if it's you, it's not just you. Relationships are not viewed the same way. How our culture looks at a relationship is one-on-one. It's me and you against the world. How other cultures look at relationship is family connected. If I get with you or you get with me, you get with the clan. And that's why they say don't you bring no brother home, because a brother that's not somebody from a family of status or a collegiate background. What comes with that brother? That's why they say it. It has nothing to do with just him being black. It has to do with that there's so few of us that have elevated past the nonsense.
True.
Yeah, but you know something though, it's deeper than that. It's not just, oh well, if you're one of the prestigious, educated niggas, then you know more than likely, and you got your pockets right, you can slide through. No, some cultures. Why you think that whole what's her name, Meghan Markle, whatever, the Prince thing, whatever? Why you think that's such a big deal? Because a lot of other cultures, they look at it as they want. Listen, them Spanish women, they want their kids, they want them grandbabies to look like the rest of the family. A lot of them, they want to hold truly their identity and their traditions and all of that to the fullest. I get with Ming Ling, who from wherever in Asia, her family is more so thinking, okay, so hold on, how these kids going to be raised? We have certain traditions and values that we hold dearly. It ain't even so much about like, oh, are you one of the ignorant, blacks, or are you? No. Now that is a factor too. We're not going to ignore that. But what I'm saying largely is them preserving their heritage and legacy, bro.
Smitty, now, and I hate to kept saying your name while you were talking.
No, you good, CT. I'm working on that too. Shit, I digress. My mic is muted. Go ahead.
Your Meghan Markle example, I get what you're coming at, but your Meghan Markle example is completely off. I'm gonna tell you why. Meghan Markle, first of all, is an American. Second of all, she's not from a high society family. Her mother was a social worker, and her white father was just the lighting guy on a production set. So she didn't even come from a high family. So she could have been white, pure white with blue eyes. It would not have mattered. And there's always been scandals in that family in terms of with who those men have been dating. If you even look at, I kind of
Meghan's family or the royal family.
The royal family.
Oh yeah, they do a lot of that incest shit. They be sleeping with cousins and shit.
Well, a lot of those men. It was one of the guys. He was actually the king and abdicated it in like the 40s. And he was with a woman that was from like a low tier white family over there. And he abdicated the throne. I forgot his name. But anyway, the real problem with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry is that they didn't want to work. See, a lot of people in America have this fantasy about the royal family in the UK. They think they're just sitting around in that palace doing nothing. Absolutely not. The duties of the prince and the duties of the consorts they are supposed to work on behalf of the king and queen, or the king or the queen, or whatever. They're supposed to go to events. They're supposed to go to fundraisers. They're supposed to do all these tasks. It's a everyday job. They didn't want to work. They wanted to, first of all, lie and talk about, the queen doesn't accept the black child. That's bullshit. And it was never corroborated. And truth be told, their own ancestor, Queen Charlotte, is a black woman. Just look it up. All you gotta do is look these things up. Their ancestor, who was the queen consort, is a black woman. It literally is a black woman. And so the thing of the matter is that the media can lie and make these stories up. But the fact of the matter is that they didn't want to work. They went on TV throwing that beautiful white woman under the bus before she died. They came to the States. They went on Oprah. They went on all these American daytime.
That's the interview I was talking about. That's the only reason why I said that, CT, because
I got it.
Yeah.
But they undermined the royal family, and that is a big no-no. And Princess Diana did it, and other people a part of that family have done it in the past few hundred years. And all you gotta do is research it. And time again, you see the same thing happening: divorces, abdication of thrones, all types of scandals because of the person that they chose. Yeah. If Meghan Markle came from a very affluent American family with history she probably would have been received better, but she's still an American. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. They look down upon the British, the royal, the high society British look down upon us in America. It is fact. Listen, even on my own show, I have people from the UK call me and they say, "Oh, you dumb Americans," and it's a reason why they're saying it. They look at us as dumb. And think about how we sound to them. So the thing of the matter is that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, they went on this tour bashing the family, expected to get their allowances, and then were mad because the royal family cut off their money. So what would you do if somebody cut off your money, even if you're in the wrong? Oh, I'm gonna talk shit about this job, like we've all done in the past. I've talked shit about jobs I got fired from in the past, but now that I'm older, they deserve to fire me. So that's what happened, man. It's just it's really it's really a mess what's going on with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. But but I see where you're coming from. But go ahead, though.
No, I was just saying that interview. I don't keep up. You know more than I do on it. All I heard was they don't accept her because of the race of the kid and what it would be and shit. I didn't know nothing about all that other stuff, but thank you for enlightening me. I appreciate it. I digress. My mic is muted. Go ahead, Gracie.
So guys, I mean, I really, really appreciate the conversation. Chaotic. It was a chaos trying to get a hold of you, but I really appreciate you coming up because I knew that you would give valuable insight and you wouldn't give a fuck what you had to say. You know, I say something like that where you're saying, I mean, I'm considered a black woman basher on YouTube, and it's not even like that. I advocate for black men. But because all they see is the light skin and the long hair, right away, I'm not qualified, or I'm not black enough, and I'd be trying to tell them, don't shoot the messenger, just absorb the message. This is not a black woman or Hispanic woman or white woman issue. It's a modern woman issue. Is there more in the melanated community? More of a severe issue? Absolutely, but it is what it is. I'm to the point now where I don't give a fuck what you got to say or how you feel. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to make people a better versions of themselves and take women accountability for their bad, messy ass behavior. Because I have a black son and he's going to go through a lot of the bullshit that he has to endure, as a black young man. So with that being said, we're going to go around the panel and we're going to do our final thoughts. Again, True, I appreciate you. We always, for some reason or another, bump heads respectfully, but that's okay. Not everybody is going to agree on everything. And Smitty, you're my A1. You've been hosting with me since the beginning of this year. I appreciate you. And CT, I really do appreciate you. I know you don't know me that well. I had to go through some people to get to you, but you came through, and I appreciate you. And True, we'll start off with True. Just go ahead and give me your final thoughts on what we talked about tonight, what things that you can suggest, because again, in order to learn about men, we got to learn from men. Some suggestions that women out there can do to better themselves, and make sure you let people know where we can find you so we can like, subscribe, and share, because we all support each other around here. I'm trying to create a buffet so we can all eat.
Yeah, for sure. No, thanks for having me. Great conversation overall. I think it is a relative topic because there is a disconnect on what I believe most women assume that men want based on sometimes the attention we may give women, whether it's online or even in person. But I would encourage women that are trying to actually land a man of quality and build something substantial, that you more than likely are going to want to present yourself in a modest way. And if you do this long enough, you will start to attract a certain tier of men. Now, if you want to continue to deal with the knuckleheads, the Pookies and the Ray Rays, as they call them, keep doing what you're doing. But thank you for having me. I love the discourse as well as us just coming together. You can find me on YouTube, same first name, same last name, all throughout IG and all the social media platforms. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Smitty, my A1. We're gonna leave the guest of honor for last after me. What do you have to say, and what are your final thoughts?
You always have a fire show. Everything is always something that is very, very, thought provoking, something that'll have you thinking, and something that can get different perspectives in so that we all can learn something. Other than that, you can catch me over here with Gracie at times. And, like I said, anywhere where you will find peace and solitude, that's where Smitty resides. I digress. My mic is muted. Y'all have a great one.
Have a good one, bro. Thank you so much for inviting me over here.
Thank you for coming, Smitty. Absolutely.
This was a great topic, and I'll look out for your channel some more. Have a good one.
I appreciate you. You too, Chaotic. Thank you for coming. Okay, guys. So you heard it from the men. You heard what they had to say. Thoughts, feelings, logic. But at the end of the day, we do have to embrace the importance of dressing well. Clothing has the power to get you noticed in a negative light or in a positive light. It highlights all the great things you're doing at work. It emphasizes your desire to grow. And I don't know if it's at your job, at the office, in a school, on a construction site, or in a doctor's office. Remember, details do matter. Take care of your hygiene. Groom. Dress accordingly to the occasion. I understand a lot of us want to stick out. A lot of us want attention. But sometimes no response is a response. We can still look classy without looking trashy. And don't get mad if you get disrespected because you're dressed like a 304. Expect that kind of response. Expect that kind of attention. It's the same for our men. Except when you're dressing and acting a certain way, accept a negative response. So at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to become a better version of yourself. Sometimes do something different. Like the beloved Kevin Samuels says, go on a Saturday morning, dress in a suit and run your errands in a suit. And just see how different people treat you. You can't make this shit up. It's real. Iron your clothes. You put a little starch on it. What happened to the creases that we used to have on our shirts and our jeans, double folded slacks? Let's get back to looking like the kings and queens that we are. But when we look like shit and slop, we're not going to be treated as such. So with that being said, guys, you can find me here every Thursday night on the JVJ Network. You can subscribe to my channel, Embrace the Grace. I am on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and WhatsApp. You can find me with my trio, with my two duo kings on every Saturday night. Intelligently Embracing Smitty's Corner on Saturdays. And I'm wherever where I'm welcomed at, okay? Because I'm on a mission. And I'm trying to make a difference. I'm not perfect. I'm not licensed. I'm just an expert in life. So with that being said, you guys all have a good night. Thank you for embracing me. Again, thank you for all my great guests. I really do appreciate it. And you guys have a good night. I really appreciate the love, especially on my birthday. A lot of you guys didn't even know it was my birthday, and y'all still reached out. And that meant a lot to me. So y'all have a good night now, okay? Thanks for coming out. Don't forget to